Howdy.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
I believe so. Can you hear me? Can everybody out there in Twitch land hear us? Welcome to the inaugural Pokemint League Draft. I'm Todd Gonzalez. I'm here with Tun, my good friend. How are you doing today, Tun?
Doing just fine here, Todd. Sorry, getting some audio set up.
Oh, you're all good. I'm still getting things set up as well. So here we are, looking at the Pokemint Season 1 draft spreadsheet. We've got, I want to shout out Ross, made a really wonderful background for everybody to use while we're streaming this tournament. So what is this? We've got 15 people here from the Blaseball, the greater Blaseball community online game, if you're not familiar with it, look it up, from the Kansas City Breath Mints and Philly Pies teams, fans. And we are competing in a double-elimination tournament. Since there's 15 of us, the person here that got the last pick, K-Dub, gets a first-round bye, but everybody else has to go through the gauntlet. And we are about 6 rounds and change into the draft, so everybody's got their first 6. We banned 2. We first eliminated all the legendaries, and everybody's going to have 10 Pokemon on their team, and we're going to battle it out in Pokemon Showdown. And so that is the gist. And we've got some really exciting stuff to talk about because, like I said, everybody's team is kind of really coming together. We can see people's strategies, and hopefully Tun can help me talk through it because I don't know anything about Pokemon. So,
I'm here to do my best as a unbiased commentator,
yeah.
somebody who's actively participating in this.
Yeah, and we're going to do our best as well not to what's the word? Spoil our own strategies as
Yeah.
well. Because I've definitely been playing a koi game in chat. I don't know about you, but um, yeah, there's layers and levels to strategy here that I don't want everybody to know my ideas. And as we speak, we've actually got a pick that has just come in. Molly
Oh,
has
look at
picked
that.
Sandaconda.
Sandaconda off
Yeah,
the board.
I need to get
Very
my
interesting. Oh, I've got a cat here.
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I had
Claire, you
downloaded
want to
a
say hi
little.
to everybody?
There we go.
Oh, now we don't want to talk.
So yeah, there's Molly's pick. So Ton, first, before we get into the teams, I wanted to talk about the bans that we saw.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody got to ban 2 Pokemon before they made their first picks. Did anything stand out to you there?
I think people did a really good job with their bans.
Yeah.
I think when I heard I got the first pick, I was thinking like, okay, that's really good for me because now I get to pick a Pokemon that is just going to be a level above what anybody else is going to be able to offer, and that was just not quite the case. I still got a very good Pokemon out of that. Don't get me wrong, but I didn't get. I was expecting to get something like maybe a Garchomp or a Dragapult or something like that. Something that would have really just been like something that my opponents have to really commit resources to stopping. And I think that largely people did a very good job banning the strongest Pokemon in this format.
I kind of agree. There's obvious ones like Palafin and Annihilape that were never going to make it through Houndstone. But to me, the big one that got left off, the one that surprised me that it didn't get banned, was Garganackle, which I have to face Pyres in the first round, and I'm terrified. I really wish somebody would have banned that.
Yeah. Well, so I was between Breloom and Garganackle for my first pick.
Yeah.
And had I picked Garganackle, I probably would have banned Breloom instead.
Don't want to get spored.
But yeah, because it has Spore, and I know firsthand how annoying Breloom can get. I've used Breloom in the past before. In the end, I haven't used Garganackle a lot, so I thought I would go with something that I'm more familiar with. But yeah, Garganackle I think is the strongest Pokemon left over. That or Dondozo.
Yeah, Dondozo is another one that I was looking at, and those two are actually in my quadrant. It's going to be Pyres versus me, and then Ads, who got Dondozo, is going to be facing Finn. So I'm very likely to face. Well, I'm guaranteed to face one of those, and might end up facing both of them. So lucky me. And I'll be honest. I didn't look up what Garganackle did before I made my picks. I just went ahead and picked Slowbro and Tyranitar because I like them. In hindsight, I don't know if they would have been the picks. Like Pyres picking third, I had that whole first round to really think about like let's come up with a counter to Garganackle, and I did not. I did not use a single brain cell on it. So we'll see how it works out for me. But your team here, I've actually got representations of everybody's teams. You can see yours here, and you've added.
Oh, look at that!
You've added Vaporeon as well.
Yes.
So we're in the 7th round of the draft. Anything you want to talk about your team?
Yeah, so I prioritized offense pretty early on. I think that's plain to see, right? Breloom is a very offensive Pokemon. Sorry if you can hear me over my cat here.
Oh, is that your cat? I thought that was the music.
No. No, that was my cat. No, but so I prioritized offense early on.
Yeah.
Just sort of going through what I think each of these Pokemon does. Breloom it's the most reliable sleep setter in the game at the moment. It has access to Spore, and it's going to be one of 2 Pokemon so far that we are able to use that has that. Haxorus is just impossible to stop once it gets going, so you really have to devote a lot of resources to avoiding it getting set up. Both of them suffer from the flaw of being very frail. In fact, a lot of my team is very frail.
Yeah.
I went all offense. Not gonna lie.
Well, I feel like Gardevoir is a decent defensive option for you.
Yeah, in certain ways, but I also think that Gardevoir is it's not bulky by any means.
Yeah.
Um, Talonflame is here, partially because I needed a fire type, partially because it's always good to have quick priority like Talonflame. Um,
Brave Bird.
Priority Brave Bird is ridiculously strong.
Yeah.
Gale Wings isn't as strong as it used to be, but it's still a fantastic turn one option. Gardevoir was a Pokemon I had my eye on with my second and third picks, and I decided, I think I can let this one pass. And I was really happy to be able to snag that with my fourth pick after waiting so long. Because Gardevoir, first of all, I needed a special attacker. But on top of that, Gardevoir is able to hit with Fairy-type attacks, which there aren't a lot of Fairy-type attackers in this gen at the moment.
I think they're almost all off the board at this point.
I believe every Fairy-type except for Wigglytuff and Dedenne are off the board, and those two are terrible.
Well, I mean, I feel like Wigglytuff has some potential. We'll see.
Could be.
The Fairy and Steel types, we had a pretty big run on. Very few options left there.
Yeah, I am regretting not being able to pick up a Steel type earlier. I really should have picked Bronzong a little earlier. That's one pick that I do regret. But I would have had to pick Bronzong over Haxorus or Talonflame, and there's no way either of those would have made it back to me, so I made my bed.
Yeah.
And then Avalugg is just a defensive wall. This thing, like, if you try to hit it for physical damage, it will not work.
Like a physical Blissey.
Yeah, it's similar to that. Not as much HP as Blissey, but a ton of defense. So just really hard to deal with if you could set it up correctly. And then Barraskewda was just sort of a value pick. Vaporeon was the Pokemon that fit my team the best, but Barraskewda is, unlike a lot of my Pokemon, very fast. It's going to be able to naturally outspeed a lot of things, so it doesn't need a lot of speed control. So Barraskewda will be useful for me, I think, in circumstances where I'm not able to set up speed control or put something to sleep, and where I just need to have immediate offensive pressure.
And I think that was extremely good value for you in the 6th round, getting easily the best Pokemon available, I think.
Yeah, grabbing a UU Pokemon in what was essentially my 7th pick, right? That's crazy value, and it just adds to. I don't think that this is the team I would bring because that's just way too much offense and no defense at all.
But it gives you really good attacking options.
Yeah, I have a litany of attacking options, and I have a lot of ways I can approach attacking my opponents, which I'm happy about. Awesome.
Well, looking at some of these other teams, is there anyone else that you really want to talk about?
Pyres.
Yeah, Pyres is nasty. This is,
oh my god, that is a ridiculous core.
I'm not going to lie. I'm a little salty that I have to face this team in round 1. So yeah, when you look at my team, you'll kind of figure out why I made some of the decisions that I did, especially in some of the more recent rounds. Because yeah, this is a wall. Oh my god. How do you?
I don't know what kind of offense you could really put together to deal with this thing.
Yeah.
It's so brutal because Garganacl is the bulkiest Pokemon here.
And Blissey's here.
Gastrodon,
and Cloyster's here.
Yeah, and Gastrodon has to be the best special defender here outside of Blissey, right?
Yeah.
Which is also on this team. And then Cloyster has one of the highest defense stats in the game. That core 4 right there, it seems like, there's two water types, there's a lot of grass weaknesses on the team.
Yeah.
So that seems like it's bad, but it's not as bad as you'd think.
I feel like Kilowattrel is a good counter to a lot of the counters to these guys.
Yeah, Kilowattrel is going to do a number of things. First of all, it's going to help him deal with hazards. You put heavy-duty boots on that thing and you give it defog, and it's just a hazard remover that is completely immune to hazards. And since he's got Cloyster and Garganackle, he will have no problem, plus Copperajah, have no problem setting up hazards. So it's going to be a lot of chip damage coming from this team.
Yeah, and even Blissey could be a hazard setter. This is there's options too.
Yeah, lots of options. Blissey could heal his team.
Yeah.
You know, it's a brutal collection of Pokemon.
And I have to figure out a way to beat it.
Yeah, the one sort of caveat here is the offense. Where does the offense come from on this team? But I think that there are ways you can manufacture it with this.
Yeah.
First of all those hazards means that he's not going to need as much offense as other teams, right? Garganackle especially specializes in chip damage, and he's got that in spades here.
Yeah.
Cloyster is a Pokemon that I really wanted to be able to pick, and it was snagged one pick before I could take it. Yeah, which is partially why I ended up with Avalugg.
Interesting.
Cloyster at home.
I had my eye on Cloyster as well, but I don't know. Here's my team. Here's who's going to be facing that nonsense. How do you think I stand a chance at all?
You have a lot of really strong Pokemon, actually. I think that Armarouge was a really that was a bit of a coup for you.
I can't believe I got that in the 4th round. I was eyeing it in the 2nd. I was considering it really early because it could do so many things.
Armarouge is the best special attacking fire type in the probably in the game right now, since we banned the best ones. And that's going to be really useful for you just because especially Cloyster is really that's a good answer to Cloyster into Copperajah.
Yeah, and the rest of my team is so focused on physically attacking because again, I saw Blissey and I was like, I gotta get something for that.
Keeping Armarouge alive is going to be really important for you. But I like your team a lot. I think that you have a really solid defensive core as well with Florges and Slowbro.
Yeah. I liked Florges in round 6 for sure.
Like I said, I was considering taking Florges with my 4th pick.
Wow.
Right? So,
and it was easily the best fairy type on the board when it came back to me.
Yeah. Florges or Gardevoir was my choice, and I liked a couple things more about Gardevoir.
Yeah.
But Florges is an amazing Pokemon.
Yeah.
Heracross is a lot of like immediate offensive pressure. That's going to be really important for you as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Because there's a lot of fighting weaknesses on that team. Blissey, Copperajah, Cloyster, and Garganackle, all weak to fighting. And then the one thing you'll want to be careful of that is sort of negative synergy, especially against Pyres, is that Tyranitar.
Yeah.
Because Sandstream is going to make the Garganackle bulkier.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. Now it's only specially bulkier, but that's still rough.
So listen, when I made my first pick, I wanted to pick my Blorbo. I wanted to pick a guy that I liked.
Yeah.
I like Tyranitar. And then Slowbro, of course. Like I'm not gonna let of all the Pokemon that are available in Scarlet and Violet, Slowbro easily my favorite. I'm not gonna let anybody else take Slowbro. Had to make sure I got that. And then from there, it was all about, for me, trying to get value. I feel like I got really good value for Bramblegast and Armarouge in the middle of the draft. Bramblegast, I think, was coveted by a lot of people. When I picked it, everybody was like, no.
Yeah, that was a surprising one, because I saw you pick Tyranitar and Slowbro, and I was like, Todd is picking familiar Pokemon. And then you picked Gen 9 out of nowhere.
Well, yeah, that was part of my playing games in the chat. I wanted people to expect me to pick old ones, but I've been studying these Pokemon for almost 2 days now.
You're pretty familiar with them.
Well, yeah. Every time somebody picks a new one, I'll not I didn't know what Dondozo was or what Garganackle even was. Never seen it, never heard of it before 2 days ago.
Those two are going to be problems for everybody.
I'll figure it out. I need to get something for that Dondozo though. So yeah, we got Numbers on the clock right now. Numbers has 6 on their team. What do you think? What do you think about that? Let me pull that up. 7. Just trying to find the right
Mm-hmm.
the right tab. There it is. There's numbers, team. We've got Orthworm,
Yeah.
we've got Floatzel, Bronzong, Crocodile, Bellibolt, and Beartic.
So, Orthworm is the best support Pokemon available to anybody,
And
especially
it's so
since
cute.
Cycles are out. It's very cute. A steel type that's immune to ground is really hard to deal with to begin with, and the fact that it has access to Shed Tail, which is like arguably the most broken move in the gen, is really hard to deal with. The fact that Numbers also has Bronzong, another steel type which with Levitate is immune to ground, that's just like,
Yeah.
that's going to be a really tough defensive core to break through,
Can't
especially
Earthquake
since
these guys. Well,
Can't
Garganacl will be
Earthquake.
good.
True. And then, so the fact that Orthworm has that ability to Shed Tail and set up for everybody else is just going to make all of these Pokemon a little bit bulkier. They're all still pretty bulky, I have to say. Looking at what Numbers has taken, Floatzel, Crocodile, and Beartic are all really solid offensive Pokemon, Floatzel especially. Just sort of looking at it, though, I do think Numbers, outside of Bellibolt, Numbers doesn't really have a big special attacker on this team. And even Bellibolt doesn't really pass that test for me. So I think, if you can come at this team with a physical wall, that might be one way to counter it. But even then, wearing this team down is going to take a lot.
Cool. So notes there for Wish. Numbers is going to be facing Wish in the first round, and the winner of that match will face KW, who again got the number 1 seed and will have a first round bye. So KW awaiting the winner of Numbers versus Wish here, who we've got up. Wish took Arcanine in the first round, followed that up with my 2 favorite picks in the entire draft: Zoroark, Ditto, into Salazzle, Flapple, and Dunsparce. This team is after my own heart. I love it. Absolutely.
This is an incredible team.
This is hilarious.
You absolutely love to see it, right? I mean, just some out of left field. Like, Wish has gone for full mind games, right? You're not gonna be able to trust what you see coming in, right?
God.
If you see something come in, it could be Zoroark. You have no idea. And then if they send in Ditto and you look away from your screen for 5 seconds, you don't know what they have my Pokemon now. How'd that happen? I don't know.
What I want to see is Zoroark come out disguised as Ditto.
Yeah,
That's what I want to see.
That thought did occur to me. That would be terrible, right? Like, you would immediately know that it's not Ditto. Because like,
Yeah.
otherwise it would transform.
Yeah. Still.
But taking the team a little more seriously, because I do think it deserves to be taken seriously. So Arcanine is the second best Intimidate user here, outside of, and actually it might be. Is Arcanine OU?
I don't believe so.
No.
I think Arcanine was in.
If you want Intimidate, you really want Arcanine or Salamence. Just because, that those are the two who have the most, like, to back up the fact that they have Intimidate. The fact that Wish has access to special attacking fire types, special attacking and physical attacking fire types on this team with Salazzle and Arcanine is really, really strong. And there's a lot of Pokemon here that can kind of do both, be like mixed attackers. The fact that they've got Ditto as well makes it really hard to set up on Numbers, or on Wish, because Ditto, when it transforms, will copy any stat changes. So if you set up, and then Ditto comes in and it's got a Choice Scarf, it's the same as your Pokemon, but faster.
Yeah, so again, a lot of options for this team. I think, like, yeah, mind games. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
It's a hard team to prep for.
Yeah. So we've got K-Dub and Mollywog in the chat. I think we should look at their team since they're here.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So
We were talking about, so K-Dub will play the
Yeah.
winner of that match.
Yeah, K-Dub gets the winner of that. Let's look at K-Dub.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got
Oh
Indeedee,
boy.
Poltegeist,
Oh
Lokix,
baby.
Tsarina, Toxicroak, and Colossal. I'm going to be honest with you, the only Pokemon that I know on this team are Tsarina and Toxicroak. Tsarina was on my
Uh-huh.
radar because it's a grass type and I need that. But
Yeah.
I ended up getting
So
Bramblegast.
this is a heck of a team right here. Oh boy. So starting off with the core, we have to remember that K-Dub, every single pick that K-Dub has made so far, K-Dub has made them back to back.
Yeah.
So all of these picks are sort of like cores almost. And the first two are a pretty obvious core. What you do is you send in Indeedee, and Indeedee has the ability where it sets Psychic Terrain when you send it out. Psychic Terrain makes it so priority moves do not work, and then you do whatever you do with Indeedee, you get Poltegeist in. And what Poltegeist will do is it will set up with Shell Smash, and that will make it really fast, really powerful. And unlike in most situations where a Pokemon uses Shell Smash, you can't hit it with Sucker Punch to kill it. Normally, that's how you would kill Poltegeist. But with that Psychic Terrain setup, K-Dub has made it so that this is a really, really threatening option right off the bat.
Great synergy there. And then tell me about Lokix. I don't know anything about this one.
Lokix is a weird Pokemon. To be honest, I confused this with Spidops when I was playing the game, and I forgot about it entirely. But then when I looked at what it has access to, it's just a really versatile Pokemon. It first of all, this thing can be like a setup sweeper. It has access to Swords Dance, which is already great. But in addition to that, its ability is Tinted Lens, which means that even though Bug and Dark are resisted by a lot of types, it's still going to be doing normal damage to those types. The fact that it has access to things like Sucker Punch and First Impression is really good. Leech Life is pretty reliable recovery nowadays. It gets U-turn. I mean, it gets access to a lot of dark type moves that are really useful. Stuff like Taunt, Throat Chop. So there's just a lot of things that K-Dub could do with this Pokemon, and that makes it harder for anybody to plan for it.
Love that, and I love the versatility. And then Tsarina, that's the hazard clearer.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, being able to rapid spin, and again, protected from priority, right? K-Dub does not want to deal with any priority moves. Oh, Numbers! We have a pick.
Ooh,
Hold on.
ooh.
Numbers
Get
has
my
just made a
sound
selection.
Frosmoth.
Frostma? Oh my goodness.
Interesting.
Wow. Well, we haven't. Have we gone to? We've done Numbers team, but we could take a quick
Yeah,
diversion
let's talk about the
to
pick.
see how that fits in. So what I know about Frostmoth is that it has access to Quiver Dance, which is one of the best setup moves in the entire game. It's also very cute. Frostmoth is one of the best designed Pokemon of all time, in my opinion. Just no bias here.
Look at it there. We've added it onto the visualizer.
Yeah. See, look how adorable that thing is. Look
Very
how
good,
soft.
very
Don't you want to hug it?
I don't know. It looks like moths. They have those little spore things on their wings. I don't know if
Well,
I'd
you
hug a
shouldn't
moth.
touch it.
Yeah.
You shouldn't touch it because they need those in order to fly. You're correct.
Yeah. But it is very friend shaped.
Mm-hmm.
It's another
very
one
friend-shaped.
I know nothing about.
So Frostmoth, generally speaking, the weaknesses of this Pokemon, it's very weak to Stealth Rock. So you almost always want to have heavy duty boots on it. That's fine though on this team because there's not really anything else here that wants heavy duty boots.
Yeah.
So Numbers can afford to kind of splash that onto Frostmoth. It also has access. The other real weakness is just that Bug and Ice is a really bad type.
Yeah.
But it has access to Ice Scales, which I think essentially doubles its special defense or something like that. It's a really good ability. So that can make it somewhat specially bulky, and if you can set up Quiver Dance, this thing is really, really scary.
And Quiver Dance increases your speed, special attack, and
Special defense.
special defense.
Yeah, so I think the plan here, I think the plan here is to use Orthworm to get a substitute up for this thing, set up Quiver Dance, and go to town, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm just putting that together in my head, but actually, yeah, that's a fun pick. I like that.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's take a look at Molly's team. Is it Molly or Molly? I hope I'm getting that right.
It's Molly. Did we want to finish K-Dub's team real quick? I know K-Dub's
oh.
in the audience.
Of course, yeah. I thought we were done talking about it. I don't know anything about these Pokemon at all. I have nothing to contribute.
Yeah, so Toxicroak, I know Toxicroak is just kind of a rascal, a scoundrel. It has access to Dry Skin, which is it's a weird ability. It's healed by rain and it's hurt by sun, and it adds like a half weakness to fire. But that just makes it so that like if you do set up rain, it gets some nice healing going. I don't really. Kata mentioned Dry Skin in the chat. I don't really know why that ability is coming into play, but you know, I trust it.
Has plans for a rain dance set up later on in the draft.
Could be. I don't know which of these Pokemon gets Rain Dance, but I'm sure K-Dub does. And then, but yeah, it's a setup sweeper, so it gets access to Swords Dance, Sucker Punch, things like that. And then Colossal is weird. Colossal is for anybody who hasn't used it, it's a weird Pokemon to use. You have to be really precise with it. But it has access. It's very slow, but it's very bulky, and it has a lot of really good setup moves. Its ability. If it gets hit with a fire or water move, that will max out its speed, essentially. Which turns it into an incredibly fast sweeper. And if you put weakness policy on the thing, it gets even better, right? Yeah. Because then if you get hit with a water type move, you know, you're kind of set. Now the difficulty is how do you get hit by that move and not die? But even then, it can set up Stealth Rocks. What it will probably more likely do is set up Stealth Rocks or Spikes and Rapid Spin.
We do have K-Dub in the chat. Says mostly it's just coverage.
Coverage with Colossal. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Even then, I mean, like we said, K-Dub has a really solid offensive core here already, so adding a fighting type, fire type, rock type, poison coverage, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and looking at, I've got, for each of these teams, you can see how many resistances and weaknesses they have. I'm not noticing a real imbalance here. K-Dub's team has a really interesting relationship with Bug. Every single one of their Pokemon is either resistant to it or super effective against it. Or it's weak against, you know what I'm trying to say. Bug is either weak against it or super effective, nothing else.
Yeah, and if I'm K-Dub, I'm looking at this, I'm not really that concerned about bug types. You know, you've got weaknesses, but it's not really to Pokemon that you're trying to set up with.
Yeah. All right, so that's K-Dub's team. Let's check out what Molly's got going on. Molly mentioned in the chat that they didn't think that they knew what they were doing, but the first two picks I've heard have great synergy. Hatterene and Torkoal.
Incredible. Yeah.
Because Torkoal is like the slowest Pokemon, I think, but Hatterene can set up Trick Room.
So Hatterene is it's probably just straight up the best Trick Room setter in the entire game, because Hatterene is itself very slow. So it can benefit from Trick Room and just turn into a really fast, powerful Pokemon. It's Psychic Fairy, just like Gardevoir, that's really good coverage. But Torkoal is very slow, but again, in Trick Room, it becomes a very powerful wall breaker and even sweeper, because what Torkoal can do, Torkoal has access to this move called Eruption. which is, I believe, 140 base power fire move. Its max power, its power scales with your HP. So if you have like 1 HP, it's not very strong at all. But at full HP, it's very good. And Torkoal also has the ability Drought, which sets up the sun, which powers up fire moves. And then you give it like Choice Specs or something like that, and suddenly like this thing can punch a hole through anything. Even like really bulky water types struggle to take hits from that. And if it's a fast Pokemon, it's really hard to deal with.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of great synergy with that. And then just beyond those two, these are just all really solid Pokemon. Gyarados is like, it's a Moxie sweeper. You can also run Intimidate on it if you want. Like, there are 2 main Gyarados sets. You can use Intimidate to help your team's bulk a little bit, or you can put Moxie on that thing, and if it gets a KO, it's just going crazy, right? You can put Dragon Dance on it even. Pawmot is one of the scariest tech options in the entire game.
Look at it; it's terrifying.
It is terrifying. First of all, Pawmot is actually a pretty solid attacker in its own right. Electric and fighting is nothing to scoff at. But on top of that, Pawmot has access to a move called Revival Blessing, and Revival Blessing gives you the ability to revive one of your Pokemon to half health after it's been knocked out.
Excuse me?
Yes.
What? What?
It has 1 PP, but it will allow you to revive a Pokemon.
Oh, okay, 1 PP. Wow.
So you can if you put a Lepa Berry on it, you could do it twice in a battle.
Okay.
Which is what a lot of people do.
Yeah.
But Pawmot is like, I mean, it's just completely new ground for Pokemon, right? There's never been a move like this. And Pawmot is just like, to get that with the 4th pick, I mean, I was considering taking Pawmot 2nd, so
wow.
Getting that 4th is really impressive.
Incredible value.
Yeah, and then Umbreon is just a really solid defensive Pokemon. It can Wish to keep your Pokemon's health up again. So that's a really solid, like, healing core right there as well. Braviary is a solid offensive Pokemon. It has access to Defog, I'm almost certain, so it can help deal with hazards. And nothing else in this team super needs heavy-duty boots. And then you just look at, like, the offense on this team. It's really well balanced because Hatterene and Torkoal are special attackers, but Gyarados, Pawmot, Braviary are all physical. So, like, you can't just wall this team with one Pokemon. You need multiple. You need a core to deal with it.
I really like this team.
I like it a lot too. I'm super impressed by it.
Yeah. I think I would be a little intimidated coming up against this.
Mm-hmm. And then there's Sandaconda as well.
Yes.
Which I think is partially to do with the fact that this team does have two ground weaknesses. Maybe Sandaconda's probably not for that. If we take a look at what Sandaconda would do, Sandaconda would help set up hazards. So that's a nice option to have. Let's see. Is there a big electricity weakness? Kind of. I mean, with Braviary and Gyarados, yeah, that's a concern.
Gyarados can't take an electric move.
No, definitely not. So it's good. It's always good to have a ground type move. But having Earthquake as an offensive choice is always good as well.
All right. So yeah, we haven't had a pick come in a minute. Looks like who is on the clock?
It's Wish, but people forgot to @ them.
Yeah, people forgot to @ Wish, and I know Wish is in the chat. Wish missed our overview of that team, so maybe we could do that again briefly now. Now that they're on the clock. So Wish has probably my favorite team.
It's a weird team. I think we give Wish a second or so to, and Wish is now in the chat, realizing that it is their turn. That's our fault. We forgot to ping. I was caught up with the stream.
Well, that's okay.
I think what we do is we take a second look at some of the other teams, give Wish a bit to make that pick.
Sure, and then we'll have our analysis whenever it comes up.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that will change the analysis. Oh, and
Ups.
the pick is
Oh,
in.
the
The
pick
pick
is
is in.
in.
It is. Oh my god. It's classic Wish. It is yet another outstanding pick. It is Quillfish.
Ooh, Quillfish. Not. Can you not get Overquill in this one?
No, not. That's not going to be legal for us. I think
Okay.
you can now,
Illegal.
maybe. But it's not in the
So it's
Pokedex.
gonna have to be Quillfish. And now Quillfish, everything I know about it is based on old data. It's a toxic spike setter, right?
Spikes and toxic spikes, if I'm not mistaken.
Interesting.
And yeah, I think with Quillfish, you would throw a focus sash on it, you would lead with it, set up hazards, and then explode, probably. I
Yeah.
know it gets access to self-destruct or explosion, one of the two. So that would probably be what I would do with Quillfish, but I can take a look.
A very cool utility there.
Yeah,
And an
definitely.
entry hazard setter that Wish did not have before.
Oh, you know what? Actually, it's got something better than explosion. It's got Destiny Bond.
Oh god.
And it has access to taunt, so this is actually a hyper utility Pokemon right here.
Cool.
And it has Intimidate. I didn't know that. So this does a lot of things. This is actually a really
Sneakily,
solid
yeah.
lead.
Really good.
Yeah, the one issue with Quillfish is just that it's got such low base stats that it's not. You really do. I mean, it depends what your opponent's going to lead with, but you can't really expect it to survive more than a turn or so.
Yeah.
So, you could try maybe running Black Sludge or Rocky Helmet on it, but I would probably, depending on what your opponent's going to be running, I would probably run Focus Sash.
Get that focus sash on it and keep it alive to try to set up maybe 2 levels of toxic spikes or something if you can do that.
What Aaron told me to do with the Dunsparce. What is so okay?
Who is Aaron?
What does the Dunsparce?
What does it even
Like,
do? I don't know.
I don't even know what it does. Is it just like Dunsparce but a little bigger? Does it just
Well, you
do the
see,
exact same thing
it has
Dunsparce did?
2 body segments instead of 1.
Well, it can have up to 3 even, which
can have
is
3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you should be running 3 if you can get it. It's superior.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and we've got another pick in. Ross has taken Komala.
Komala.
Oh my goodness. That's scary for me. I'm happy that Ross took that because I don't think I'm on the same side of the bracket as him, though.
Here is
Am I?
Ross's team. Ross has a fun team. This is another team that's got a lot of good defense going on.
Yeah, Ross does have a phenomenal team. One moment, because I do need to make a pick for Finn.
Sure.
Finn is currently sleeping like a responsible person.
We are all, well, most of us are in separate time zones, and so sometimes your pick comes up while you're asleep.
No.
And,
Oh my goodness.
Oh, no.
Finn made a pick I wanted. That is Masquerain.
Masquerain going to Finn.
And that brings up, sorry, who is...
Smallfish, who has another one of my favorite teams.
Smallfish.
Picks coming in very quickly here.
Mm-hmm. It's very stop-start, usually.
Yeah.
So apologies for that, but we will...
It's all good. We've had runs where we're getting pick after pick after pick, like several just within a minute. Sometimes we've been doing this draft since Friday evening. That's when we started making the bans.
Yeah, we've been making good progress. And yes, numbers, you are even encouraged to nickname your Pokemon.
Yes.
So, going back to what we were talking about before, the Dunsparce, what does that thing do?
Yeah, what does it do?
Because what I'm seeing here, I mean, I'm kind of waiting for Wish to say something in the chat about it, but all I really know about the Dunsparce is that it's got like slightly better stats than Dunsparce. What I'm seeing here is that it can coil. It can do the same thing that Dunsparce does, which is coil, body slam, and try to fish for paralysis. You can roost. You could bite to fish for flinches. Yeah, okay. Coil, roost, body slam.
I can't even
So
pull
to
it
just
up.
go through that strategy for people who aren't familiar, Coil is a move that boosts your attack, defense, and accuracy by 1. Um, the accuracy bust doesn't really matter in this case. What you're trying to do with that set is take advantage of an ability called Serene Grace, which
Yes.
doubles the odds of any sort of additional effect happening. So if you use Body Slam normally I think has a 30% chance to paralyze or something like that.
I thought it was
But with
15.
no,
Wow.
it's 30.
Yeah, so it
Yeah,
becomes 60 with
it becomes 60, so more likely than not.
So it really is
And
just a bigger
then
Dunsparce.
it's just a bigger Dunsparce. I think it's just Dunsparce, but it's a little better at doing its job. And then you could either give it Stealth Rock or Bite, I guess. It just seems like it's there to be annoying.
Love it.
And it's pretty good at that, to be fair.
Cool. So then we had Ross, and Ross made a great first pick, Mimikyu, which will probably, that's going to cause a lot of trouble. I hate going up against that thing. Good defenders, Sylveon, Magnezone, and then good offense with Dragalge. So yeah, I like this.
So Ross grabbed 2 fairy types really early on,
Smart.
which threw a wrench into my plans because I was thinking, okay, most of the fairy types are in the middle of the draft, so that's where I'll go for them. But I was sweating waiting to get Gardevoir because Ross grabbed those so early. Ross also grabbed, in my opinion, the best Steel type in the draft. It's either this or it's Fortress. Magnezone is such a solid Pokemon. And having that Fairy, Ghost, Steel defensive core is going to be really hard to deal with. Ross also has a Dragon type as well, which is part of that core. So defensively, this team is going to be... You're going to need a lot of answers.
This team matches up really well against me.
Mm-hmm. And then Alomomola is a weird Pokemon as well. Alomomola doesn't do anything offensively, really. But what it can do, it has access to Regenerator. So every time you switch it out, it'll heal 1/4 of its health. Or I think even 1/3. I don't know exactly.
I think it's 1/3. I've been looking at Slowbro a lot the last couple of days.
And then it's also got Wish, Protect. You can put leftovers on that thing, so it'll never die. It's got a ton of HP, which is part of what makes it such a good Wish user, is because it'll really restore a lot of HP. And then it just keeps your team healthy, you know. And so this will be an interesting and difficult team to deal with. And what is the 7th Pokemon on Ross's team? I'm taking a look here.
That up here. Oh, I need to refresh.
And actually, Todd, you are up.
I'm up?
Yeah.
Oh, Fish has chosen. Finn chose Masquerain, Smallfish chose Camerupt, and I am going to choose... I'm going to make my pick live on air.
Oh my goodness.
I choose Muck. I want the sludge. Give me the slimy boy.
Todd has chosen Muck.
I choose... Yeah, I guess I should post that in the chat. Yeah, I just want Muck. I think Muck, you know, I don't want to tip too much of my strategy on stream, but Muck gives me some options.
Okay.
Gives me some
That
options.
is an interesting one. I'll have to think about it.
I don't think I'm getting good value, but like it's a reach, but I feel like it's gonna you all are gonna be like, whoa. Actually, that was a Galaxy Brain move.
Yeah, we're not ready for the Muck.
You're not ready for it.
No one's ready for the Muck.
So yeah, that will put Yori up, and I believe they will be joining us on the chat later. Very excited for that. So we'll discuss that team whenever Yori gets here. But we've had some more picks. Let's go back and talk about Finn. Finn is the other one in my quadrant that I've been really keeping an eye on this team as Finn has been putting it together. So Hydreigon leading off with that, Staraptor, Lycanroc, Klefki, Bombardier, and Hariyama. What stands out to you about these guys?
Oh boy, it's a lot of offense.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of my team, to be honest.
A lot of speed here.
A lot of speed, yeah. Like really, really fast, like base Pokemon. Taking Masquerain I do want to talk about Masquerain because that's actually a subtly really good pick. Masquerain is a sticky web setter, and the reason that's going to be really good is because Hydreigon is good, but it's not the fastest Pokemon in the world, and it doesn't have a lot of priority. But if you can get sticky web set up, Hydreigon will suddenly be up faster than most of your opponent's team. So that's going to be a difficult Pokemon to deal with if you can get that set up. But just beyond that, I mean, Hydreigon is a really solid special attacker, and then building around that with a bunch of various physical attackers is a solid strategy. Staraptor, Lycanroc are both very fast. I don't know anything about Bombardier.
Me neither. Furiously looking it up on Smogon.
There's nothing on Smogon for it, apparently. There's no sets, even though it is in rarely used. So presumably it can do something.
Hopefully
but I don't know
bombs,
what.
Maybe?
I don't know. I guess it has defog, it gets knockoff because it's a dark type. But beyond that, I don't know.
And then you've got the utility of Klefki. With
Klefki,
Crabster.
ultra utility Pokemon.
Yeah.
You love to see Klefki.
A very good pick. I probably would have taken that. Well, no, because never mind. But it was on my board. It was high on my board.
And then Hariyama is just
That's
it's
the wall.
really strong Pokemon, really immediate offensive presence. When you facing Finn is going to be a lot of like, you'd better come prepared because the second he sends a Pokemon out, it's going to be putting pressure on you.
Yeah. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how because we've covered a lot of really defensive teams so far. This one is, I think, the most all-out offense we've seen.
Finn and I have I think the most offensive teams in this format.
I'm really excited to talk about that sicko Val whenever we get around to him. But let's see. After Finn was Smallfish, and Smallfish has been assembling a team. Another team I really like. Smallfish has come in with a strategy of just picking Pokemon that they like.
Yeah, so I wonder how much of this was picked by Smallfish and how much of it was picked by a random number generator. And I think it was picked by Smallfish. I think Smallfish just likes his Pokemon.
Leafeon seems like a really Smallfish Pokemon. Sableye, Luxray. I feel like they're on brand. And sneakily, I feel like the coverage is pretty good here. I think you shouldn't be resting on your laurels coming up against this team, thinking that you're gonna walk over it.
Yeah, absolutely not. All of them, like a lot of really solid special attackers here.
And I think you could maybe do something with Trick Room, like picking up some slower Pokemon later.
Yeah, with Hypno, Trick Room.
I think can set it up. Isn't that right?
Yeah, I mean, if you're not ready for that, that's gonna ruin your day.
Yeah. And two Eevees on that team.
2 and potentially counting.
Yeah, could be even more. We've still got Flareon on the board, Jolteon still there. I think those are the only 2 remaining. Unless they've added more that I don't know about.
And then Fish also chose
a fish, a small fish. Love-Disc.
Love-Disc, yes, a small fish. And Love-Disc, man, it's very fast, and whatever it does, it's going to do it really fast.
I'm going to be honest with you. I thought that Alomomola was a Love-Disc evolution. I did not realize they were separate lines.
Yeah, they look like it, right? They look like they ought to be. But no, Alomomola is just kind of its own thing, and it's,
very different.
It's
Love-Disc
very
is all
different.
about that speed.
Some might say stronger than Love-Disc, some might say otherwise.
Some people are wrong, depending on which side is wrong.
Someone's wrong, someone's right.
Someone's always wrong.
Someone's always wrong. That's what we always say here, folks.
All right. Well, who do we want to talk about next?
Well, so there's also Spool to talk about, right?
That's right. Spool
also made a pick while we were doing this.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry, we skipped over Spool. So Spool's got Lucario, Mismagius, Hawlucha, Espeon, Golduck, Gogoat, and Delibird. Interesting Delibird selection in round 7.
Yeah, so again, it reminds me a little bit of what we saw with Wish's team, where Wish had Arcanine and Salazzle, whereas here we've got Lucario and Hawlucha, both kind of two really powerful fighting types, one physical, one special,
Hmm.
which is already difficult to deal with. Really, the special attack on this team is just sky high. Lucario, Mismagius, Espeon,
Yeah.
Golduck, all either really fast or in like pretty passable speed tiers. They're gonna hit you hard and they're gonna hit fast.
Good offense on this team.
Yeah.
Who is Spool's matchup in the first round? That would be, I think.
Ooh, good question.
I think Spool's first round matchup is Liam, but I might be wrong.
Liam.
Maybe. And Liam's team is another one I really want to talk about. Liam said they wouldn't be available on the stream, but still, I want to talk about it because it's very funny, the reasoning behind picking all these guys. Liam just said they wanted Pokemon that would beat them up in an alley behind a 7-Eleven. So we've got Gengar, Toedscruel, Gallade, Abomasnow, Toxtricity, Houndoom, and Weavile.
These are some nasty boys.
Nasty, dirty, Team Rocket ass Pokemon.
Liam straight up does have a Team Rocket team. Right
I love the Abomasnow.
Yeah, I have no idea what the snow synergy is here. It's not as obtrusive as it would be because now snow doesn't do damage.
Yeah.
Oh,
you got Weavile. Can benefit from
got
it.
Weavile as well. Weavile is crazy value with a 7th pick.
That was a good pick.
Yeah, I would say all of these are really solid Pokemon. Toedscruel, again, is one of 2 Pokemon in this draft that's going to be able to use Spore. Which is going to make, like, I think, honestly, in some ways, this plays like a Team Rocket fight, in that they're going to be throwing a lot of status at you. They've got a number of poison types, a number of dark types, and their Pokemon can't take necessarily a lot of hits, but they're going to be dealing a lot of damage.
You're going to want a good cleric on your team.
Yeah.
Some kind of recovery or setup.
Yeah, absolutely. And Gengar is just like a really solid first ace Pokemon.
I lied. Gengar actually is my favorite Pokemon in this that would have been available, but didn't fall to me.
Yeah, Gengar was
just look at him.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Such a good Pokemon.
Yes.
And yeah, I just think that like all of these, outside of Houndoom, I felt like all of them were really good value picks as well.
Yeah, Houndoom, I was sad. I kind of wanted to take Houndoom in one of these later rounds.
But I feel like they've done a really good job forming an offensive core, and mostly doing it just by kind of taking, what was the best Pokemon available at times.
Don't come at this team with a grass type.
Do not.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, this team, honestly, in some respects, feels like it's an answer to my team. Because this team just destroys Breloom.
Yeah. I'm interested.
Breloom
People have been talking in the chat about, reacting to their first round opponent's team and talking about the people that are, lined up in their quadrant. I'm really curious to see the matchups that we're going to see further down the bracket when you're going to have to use these Pokemon that are like way down on your board. Maybe to bring them in to counter something on your opponent's team that you wouldn't have prepared for.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
And then I don't think we gave Spool quite enough time there. I want to spend a little bit more time on this team. This kind of offensive focused team.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, Lucario, Mismagius, and Espeon are all going to be doing similar things in that they're all going to be fast, putting out a lot of offensive pressure really quick. Mismagius has a couple tech options, things like, I think it gets access to Knockoff, but it also gets Will-O-Wisp.
Destiny Bond.
So it's going to be a good Pokemon for shutting down physical attackers. The Go-Goat pick is one that I am fascinated by, and I need to know what Go-Goat does.
Well, Go-Goat is the one that you ride into battle. Very important to have one of those.
Yes, of course. Right. It's important to have a mascot. So Oh, really?
Oh, we got to pick in?
No, 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 no. Go no pick. But I just looked at what Go-Goat does, and this is an incredible Pokemon.
Good.
Not incredible, but like it's weird. It's a strange Pokemon. Go-Goat apparently gets access to Milk Drink,
What?
right?
Oh, yeah, goat milk. That makes sense.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you put it like that. It also has Sap Sipper, so it's immune to grass type moves. Um, and it will get an attack boost off of that. It gets bulk up, so it can set up a little bit, and then Horn Leech will also help it heal. So this thing is just a ball of healing.
Hmm.
Good luck killing it. Is my understanding of how this is going to work.
Interesting. Go goat.
Yeah,
That one was from the France one, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yes, I believe you rode around on it
Yeah, that's
in the
right.
game.
He rode around Paris on this goat. I
No,
remember.
it was like one area of the game that you could do it. Like they didn't fully implement it.
Hmm.
It was very strange.
That's all I remember about it though, was riding it around. I don't think I ever used it in battle.
Hmm.
So I hope we get to see him fight. I agree, Elwitz. I can't wait to watch these boys fight. I think a lot of us. So when is the timetable for when we need to do the first round? It's next weekend, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
So we'll all have a full week, to prepare these teams, and potentially, I think some people are going to do practice battles against each other. You and I
Mhm.
might do. We're on complete opposite sides of the bracket. I think I couldn't face you until the finals, so we might as well have a friendly.
It's true. It's true.
'Cause we're almost definitely.
And
I'm not going to make it that far. I'm sure, but
yeah, I mean, I've got a tough road when
tough
I
road
look
ahead
at
of
my
us.
bracket
We
because
shouldn't have invited the Pies. They're really good at Pokemon.
yeah, it's
We
unfortunate. I mean, I looked at because my first round matchup, man. I mean, not to get too in the weeds with it, I've been doing a
Oh no,
lot
tell me about
of.
it. Who are you up against?
I'm up against Yuri.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, and that's a scary one for me. I was up against K-Dub before we had a dropout, which was also
Oh,
very scary to me.
I wish I could have seen that. I was going to be up against Val, who is the only person I've played Pokemon against since 2 decades ago. Since
Hmm.
the year started with 200, was the last time I faced anybody in a Pokemon match, and I won.
But you are undefeated.
Yes, and I don't know how much of that was Val throwing.
No, Val didn't throw. You played really well actually.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. But no, like looking at Yuri is a really tough round one matchup for me. Just in terms of play style.
Oof. Yuri's team
And
has such good synergy on it. Oh my god,
it's rough.
it's a
That's
good
the
good
Titan.
team.
That's the Titan that's gonna keep me awake at night for
That's
sure.
that's a value in the fourth round. I
Hmm.
can't believe that thing lasted that long. I might have taken it, but for Garganacle.
I do think Yuri did want us to wait
That's right.
until
That's
she
right.
was until she
But yeah,
was
so there's a
healed.
brief look, and then we'll have more of it later.
Yeah.
Um, we
But
haven't talked about ads.
regardless,
Oh,
yeah. Let's talk about ads.
ads has a really good team. Um,
Yeah.
Dondozo was the first pick. One of probably the two best in the draft on my board.
Hmm.
I would say Garganacle and Dondozo. I would have 1, 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
And getting Salamence as well.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
After the snake, after many picks had been taken, that's like pick number 22 or something that came in. And
Yeah,
then getting
said by
Revivroom in the fifth round. Are you kidding me?
yeah, God,
Arboliva was on my board. That's good value in the fourth.
this is such a defensively solid team. It's such a hard team to deal with.
Oh, and then
Um,
the seventh there, by the way, is Mabostiff,
Mabosstiff.
which is apparently a Pokemon.
Yeah, it's a dog. It died in the game, but it's got better.
Is that
Is
Houndstone?
No,
Okay.
that's a different dog that was already dead.
Why did they put so many dead dogs in this generation, do you think?
Well, I think maybe they were going through some stuff.
Aw.
Yeah.
Look, it looks so sad. I just
It
want to
does
pet
look
it.
sad.
Wow.
It's like a mob boss though. Like
Sad little guy.
it does like a big toothy smile sometimes.
Okay. Well,
It does
I
like a
want to make
big
it smile.
yeah. In terms of what it does, it's a dark type.
Mhm.
And it can't be intimidated if you put its signature ability on it. It also has access to intimidate.
Mhm.
What I'm seeing online is people using stakeout, which is an ability where if an opponent switches out on this, whatever move you hit it with is going to do double damage. So it sort of makes all of its moves into pursuit, which seems like a good move, a good ability.
Okay, yeah, that seems
And
like it'd be
then,
okay.
yeah, beyond that, I mean, it doesn't really set up or anything. It does have access to Destiny Bond, which is funny. The dog dies
Yeah,
and
yeah.
takes you with it.
You can't handle it. The
No,
guilt and the pain.
it old yellers itself. Um, but yeah, like first of all, Dondozo and Salamence are just a ball of
Oh my
stats,
goodness, Dondozo is
and
so
then
bulky.
it's so
It
bulky.
has
Like
an
that thing
ability
is.
that's amazing, right? Um,
Um,
it has the
it has
one,
unaware.
yeah, unaware.
Uh, Unaware is a really solid ability this gen because it just ignores any and all stat changes on the
Mhm.
opposing Pokemon. So if you try to set up to get through Dondozo, that's not going to work.
Not gonna work.
Not at all.
I'm gonna need to come up with something better. Maybe status it.
Yeah, but even then, like it's already pretty slow, so it doesn't really like it's slow, and I mean, you could toxic it, but the thing about Dondozo is that like I think it runs rest a lot of the time.
Oh, yeah.
I think that it does it. Yeah, it does a lot of sleep talk and rest. Um,
Hate
and
it.
what it'll
I
do
hope I
is
don't
just
have to face it.
what it'll do is it'll just kind of wear you down a lot.
Yeah,
Um, and that's what makes it such a strong Pokemon. Um, and it doesn't exactly hit for nothing either.
yeah.
But it's just a really easy Pokemon to switch in, especially against any physical attacks. And it's just that thing's a menace.
They just keep making bulky water types.
They just keep doing it.
They keep adding them. We didn't have enough.
I have a shiny Dundozo.
Ooh, what color is it?
It's like banana yellow.
Very
Hey,
cool. Hello.
What's up?
uh, so it's been my pick for about 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I know exactly what I want to pick.
We have
Have-
Yodi here, by the way.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm just hopping on to the stream now. How's everything going?
Going
It's
great.
going well.
Having a lot of fun.
Dead
How are you?
dogs.
Yeah, talking about dead dogs.
Okay.
So we have Yudi here to make a pick live on stream.
Live on stream. My pick is going to be Cryogonal.
Cryogonal. I thought so. Yeah.
Cryogonal, a classic pick.
Mm-hmm.
It's the reasoning is as follows. It knows Rapid Spin. It learns Aurora Veil. It's kind of like a perfect synergy for my team if
Yeah.
I want to go all in on the Ice Strat.
Yeah, you have a solid ice core.
What is Wish's team again?
Wish's team? Wish has Arcanine, Zoroark, Ditto, Salazzle, Flapple, Dudunsparce, and something else.
Cool.
I love this team. I love the Zoroark Ditto combo. That is
Really
Zoroark is a Pokemon that I was seriously looking at before this, just because the illusion ability, even when it's like not good, it's so much fun.
I was 100% going to reach for Zoroark because it's funny.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I should ping K.
Oh, are we going to get K on too?
No, but it is K-Dub's turn to make two picks.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, K-Dub has the wraparound. So Yodi, you have really got some great synergy with Snow, the new weather this generation.
Yep.
Was that your plan going into the draft?
I want to keep myself flexible for it. Slowking was my first pick because it is a specially defensive or even like physically defensive tank that learns Chilly Reception, which is the best teleport effect in the game right now. So by allowing Slowking to always go last, you get basically a free switch in on any Pokemon that you want to set up with. And it so happens to be Sea Titan is probably the best thing you can do because it gets so much benefit from Chilly Reception in particular. But it can also just do like weird stall stuff in case like I wanted to go in that direction instead.
Very hard to deal with, especially if you're able to set it up at all.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody watching, if you want to beat Yoda, you gotta figure out a way to break that Titan, and it's not going to be easy. And
Yeah.
then you've got
So
Grafai. I love that.
yeah, I also love Grafai because it's also a flexible mon. Obviously, the Prankster set is super good with it, where you can Prankster Parting Shot or Encore or Switcheroo or do something weird. And it has like you can even not bother to use Prankster because it's just a speedy mon in general.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Uh, and I was doing a lot of reading, and it looks like Grafai Slowking is like a pretty good underused core for offensive bulky teams, which is sort of like where I was like leaning towards anyway with the Tauros. Tauros is also another flexible defensive Ishmon with good speed, good attack, where you can go into the defense or more into the offense. Having the being able to switch between fire and water also gives you a lot of flexibility with what you want to do.
Yeah, I see that they've changed Tauros a bit in this generation. That's news to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's black now. It's a fighting type, and then
It's a
it can
fighting
also
type.
be water or fire.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
It also learns a move, Raging Bull, which I'm probably going to play no matter what because it's a 90 base power move that breaks through screens.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and it's always the stab typing for your Tauros. So if
Yeah.
I want a water move, it's good. If I want a fire move, it's good. Theoretically, Water Tauros has access to Wave Crash, which is stronger, but the utility is so nice from Raging Bull.
Yeah, and this is again. I'm scared that I have to go up against you round one because
Yeah. Well,
uh,
team building is only half of it. Piloting is the other half, and
Yeah.
that's definitely the part where I feel a little bit weaker.
mhm. I mean, on some level, as I would agree, but I also think that like you have a pretty solid advantage over me in team building. I feel like I've been reacting to a lot of what you've been doing so far.
Hmm.
Which like I think it's given me some things, but it's also it's hamstrung me in other ways. And the fact that like again, Grafai is such a versatile Pokemon, the fact that it's a Titan, the set that I'm scared of, you don't even have to run it if you don't want.
Yeah.
Um,
So
and
Titan.
and that
Sorry,
you
you
have
first.
yeah, and the fact that you have the choice of your Tauroses as well, the water or fire one, like
Hmm.
it's I have a lot of things I have to prep for,
Yeah.
which is tough.
So the other cool thing that I can do right now is because uh, Slowking is just like so versatile. It's like going to be the backbone of any comp that I play. But it has some really interesting things I can do. It can be a trick Pokemon if I want. It can also be a trick room Pokemon if I want.
Right.
So part of like the early scouting was looking at like stuff like Gardevoir and Torkoal and going like, it'd be pretty cool if I just like have that in the back pocket of like this could be a Titan Snow team or this could be just a Trick Room team.
Right.
A lot of
Yeah, no,
people seem to have the option for Trick Room.
Yep.
Could be
it's
popular
yeah.
in this meta.
Truly
Yeah.
unfortunate.
So that's the other nice thing is like I don't have to. I can run Trick Room team without having to like invest in putting Trick Room on
Yeah.
my mons.
Just react to your opponent's Trick Room instead.
Hmm.
Mhm. Yeah, and your team overall doesn't have like the most speed in the world. I mean, Tauros is relatively fast, but
Yeah, but
and
it's probably not going to like. I don't think most of these mons are going to have like a huge investment in speed for the most part. I think like trying to make like just a team that will just only revenge kill is attractive, but ultimately a little coin flippy. And I'd rather just give myself bulk,
Hmm.
mhm,
and that means sacrificing speed, and I'm okay with that.
yeah, and you have a lot of bulky Pokemon here for sure.
Hmm.
How do you have
Goodra
Palisand?
was Palisand, surprisingly good bulk. Um, good move pool actually. I hadn't really looked at Palisand too much, and then I was like uh trying to figure out like what do I need on this team. I was like I kind of want something that I can block rapid spin if I need to, and also do well against give me like some more immunities. Palisand happened to fit in very well. It's a bulky Pokemon with like good special attacking ability, can set hazards, can remove no, it can't remove hazards. It can heal itself.
Yeah. Shore Up is a really solid healing move, and then
Mhm.
like the fact that it's got water compaction as well. It's not an immunity to water type, but
Yeah.
it alleviates it at the very least.
hmm Like
Um,
the water compaction plus shore up will make you invulnerable to water eventually.
eventually. So it's the same thing essentially.
hmm
Um, and then yeah, Cryogonal, just to deal with hazards, uh, I think is a really solid pick. And again,
Yep.
like you said, access to Aurora Veil is really solid. Um,
And if
so
if Aurora Veil feels risky, like if for some reason I don't want to always run it, you can just run Reflect. That's fine.
right. And on top of that, yeah, like combined with your team's natural bulk already, like this is a tough team to deal with.
hmm
And I love the value of Gudra as well, as we talked about. Not a lot of fairy types available, so that could be pretty tough to deal with
Yeah,
if your
for
opponent doesn't have
sure.
something for it.
Yeah, getting Gudra with a sixth overall pick is pretty good.
That's a high base stat total.
It is. I truly actually did want a less bulky Pokemon than Gudra. I was hoping to like get like a speedy special attacker. I think Noivern would have been really cool.
I am
Um,
shocked how late Val was able to grab Noivern, but we can
yeah,
talk about that
Yeah,
later.
yeah. Well, I mean, I had too much going on.
it
I
was
want to do
on
too many things.
it was on my
Mhm.
radar, but I have to go against Pyres, and Noivern isn't going to do anything against that team.
hmm
Yeah,
Um,
Gardevoir also would have been super cool on here. For some reason, I thought it was slower, but it's actually got the same speed as Gudra. So I was like, oh, this is good in Trick Room. It can be, um, but it's sort of middling speed. So depends on the matchups.
yeah, for sure.
Pyre is grabbing Cloyster. Cloyster is sort of like the backup to Titan. It's good against a Titan. It's good as a Titan.
Yeah, Cloyster, like I said, Cloyster was on. It was my number one pick before Pyrus
Mm.
grabbed it, and I kind of had to scramble to figure out what I wanted to do after that.
Pyres
it's a
has got such a hugely defensive team. Look at all this bulk.
Oh my god.
Garganackle with Salt Cure, making it really effective at dealing damage, or Body Press. Even like those two moves just to give it such good coverage and then it just takes forever to kill.
hopefully not.
hmm
We've got a ton of immunities from Gastrodon and Kilowattrel and Copperaja, and just good bulk in Blissey and Cloyster. But it's this one is definitely a team that's like you've got tons of survivability, but how do you kill anything right now?
Yeah,
It's kind of all in on Garganackle or like a Shell Smash Cloyster setup. Probably
yeah.
Kilowattrel is maybe a little bit too frail to like be the damage dealer you want it to be.
Yeah, I think that this is. But if you don't have things to deal with the defensive core of this team, like
hmm
I don't
Oh
know how you
yeah,
beat it.
Pirates could easily just decide to stall you out for 200 turns, and you just go, I can't do anything.
It's just kind of a matter of do you have an answer or do you not.
hmm
Pyrus has sort of turned Pokemon into like tic tac toe. I feel
Mm.
like a really long version of tic tac toe.
Can't wait for the matchup.
uh, so then, do we want to? Obviously, K-Dub hasn't made his pick yet, but we have a couple other teams we could talk about.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
see here. Who do we have left?
Sorry for coming in and
You are
No,
all
you're
good.
good.
You're
We
really
haven't talked
distracting.
about Val. I think Val
Oh
might be
yeah,
the only one we haven't
Oh
talked
yeah. We
yeah,
just haven't talked about Val.
Val is my number one betrayer, getting rid of Corviknight in the first ban. Who does
Corviknight was
that?
never gonna last. That was never
Corviknight
gonna
was never going to last, but Val's a player who benefits a lot from playing defensive mons
Yeah.
that are as strong as Corviknight, so it feels like just let someone else ban it.
I was going to ban Corviknight, to be very clear. That thing wasn't making it through.
hmm
Val. Oh boy, this is a weird team.
I truly do not know what Val is doing at this point. The Mousehold I understand, the Fortress I understand. Darkspawn onward, I'm just like,
It's very cute.
Val's cooking.
He's in the lab. He's cooking. He's cooking something up.
He's got some
Um,
kind of nasty plot.
I can tell you what each of these Pokemon do individually.
That's a good
But
place to start.
yeah, so okay, starting with Fortress. Fortress is like the most compact Pokemon in the world. It's got spikes, it's got rapid spin, and like
Explosion,
beyond
right?
that,
Probably Explosion.
yeah, it probably blows up, right? Um, and it's just like because it doesn't take much damage from Stealth Rock either. Like it takes normal damage from Stealth Rock. You don't really have to worry about it taking damage from hazards. You can just kind of not worry about hazards at all while you have it.
Hmm.
Um,
It's yeah, it's really only weak to fire moves,
But it's really weak to fire moves.
but it's really weak to fire moves.
yeah. So I mean, it's not gonna like make a whole ton of offensive progress for you, but it just like invalidates hazards against your team. And given what Val has here, Noivern and Frostlass are both really weak to hazards, so that's actually pretty good
Hmm.
for him.
Yeah.
Um, but then Mousehold, whoa, that's a weird one. Mousehold is strange because what it'll do, as far as I can tell, Mousehold will mostly run Wide Lens to try to take
Hmm.
advantage of its signature move, Population Bomb, which hits anywhere from 2 to 10 times.
Wow.
Population Bomb is 20 base power with 90% accuracy, and I actually believe what it'll do is it'll keep hitting until it misses.
Yeah. It makes 10 or 9 different accuracy checks.
Yeah. And so you give it Wide Lens so that your accuracy on that move goes up to 99%, and you're more likely than not to hit.
Yeah.
You're far more likely than not to hit. It's
At
1%.
least 8 or 9 times.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then it also has the ability Technician, which will power up each individual hit of Population Bomb by 1.5. And then if you add Stab into that, each hit of Population Bomb is 45 power. So then with 10 hits, it's a 450 base power normal move.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It
of note, any Pokemon holding Rocky Helmet just kills Mousehold.
will just kill
There you
Mousehold.
go. You heard it here first.
That
Rocky
said,
helmet.
I've seen like a Mousehold just go, "I'm going to pop on your Garchomp with Rough Skin Rocky Helmet," and it just traded. It just straight up traded for the Garchomp.
Amazing.
Yeah. It also has access to the move Tidy Up, which will up its attack and speed, as well as clearing substitute and all hazards from the field. So Mousehold is like it's got two. I don't know if Tidy Up is its signature move or not, but
It is.
yeah. So it's got two signature moves
Hmm.
essentially. Um, so it's a really weird Pokemon, and it can get away from you in a hurry. If it manages to tidy up and get rid of hazards and then population bomb on you, like it's so scary.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
and and then beyond that, I see it running Bite just to get that Technician boost, 90 base power Dark type move.
yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Does technician
Sometimes
mean that it wouldn't flinch? Or
Technician is the low base power move get a little
it just boosts the
improved.
power?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think sometimes you see Encore if you want to run a little bit supportive. Sometimes it'll have U-turn. This is definitely a Pokemon that I think is way better in doubles than it is in singles. Just because it has so much flexibility. You can either use it as a damage dealer or like some sort of weird setup with Friend Guard.
You can follow me with this thing. Yeah, in doubles
Yeah,
it's really good.
it's got Helping Hand. I think sometimes you'll see it run like Thunder Wave. It's a pretty fast mon. Um,
Hmm. Mousehold is ridiculous.
yeah, but truly it's like only real damaging move is Population Bomb. So you put a Steel type in front of it also, and it just has a really hard time getting through.
Yeah, and if you put a ghost type in front of it as well, like it has bite for
Yeah,
that, but even that is not going to do a ridiculous amount of damage because its base attack just isn't all that high. But that is it is the sort of like weird freak
Yeah.
that Val would love.
I could see Val not even run population bomb on this thing, just like psych people out about it and just go full utility, full support on this Pokemon, and it would absolutely wreck you because you're expecting it to do something completely different.
Val's gonna make it to the finals and do that.
I hope so. Val is a mad genius.
And then if you look at Darkspun as well, Darkspun is a defensively bulky fairy type Pokemon with decent special defense. And from what I can tell, it's mostly just there to like be a cleric. It's supposed to wish, it's supposed to protect, but it also has some utility. It can use roar or yawn
Yeah.
or even baby doll eyes. It doesn't really do a lot offensively. It doesn't really function like a fairy type offensively.
Yeah, surprisingly.
Yeah, it just kind of body presses. It takes advantage of that really good defense stat.
Yeah.
It also has the ability Well-Baked Body, which raises its defense by 2 stages if it's hit by a fire move, and it's also immune to fire.
Yeah, I have that same ability in real life.
Your body's well baked.
I have a well-baked body.
I am
Nice.
immune to fire as well, yeah.
And Val has just tuned in, evidently, so welcome, Val.
You just tuned in?
Just tuned in. Very happy to have you here. Todd is a little bread boy.
Todd is a little
That's
red
me.
boy. I'm always saying this.
Um,
Oh, K-Dub has made his picks.
Ooh.
And, yep, there it is. I knew it. K-Dub picks Honchkrow,
Oh,
which
good one.
is
Yeah.
is really K-Dub picking Murkrow.
Really?
And then
Yeah.
K-Dub has picked Oricorio.
it's basically the last prankster Pokemon in the pool, I think.
Yeah.
I believe it is.
I should have picked Murkrow instead of Muk.
I probably should have been thinking about what my second pick is after grabbing Cryogonal. I knew that was going to be Cryogonal, but I wasn't actually sure what I was going to do afterwards.
We've got 2 more on-stream picks coming up here, folks. We got Yuri, and then after that, it's going to be Todd.
Oh, Oricorio going as well.
Yeah. Oricorio is an interesting Pokemon. It's another one that has like a really cool thing that it can do, but it can only do it in doubles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That said, it's a very cool counter. I'll take that back. It would be a very cool counter to like Salamence or certain builds of Tyranitar if its stats were better.
Yeah.
Because you just take a Dragon Dance and make it your own.
Cool.
Yeah, for those unaware, Oricorio has an ability called Dancer, where anytime somebody uses a dancing move, Oricorio uses that move as well. So Swords Dance, Dragon Dance, those moves would all be copied by Oricorio. So it's a really weird and niche tech option. The other advantage to Oricorio is that there are 4 kinds of it. You can have an electric, a psychic, a ghost, and a fairy? No,
Fire, electric, psychic, ghost.
Fire, electric, psychic, and ghost. And so that means that K-Dub is just going to be able to decide, do I want one of these? K-Dub has essentially picked 4 Pokemon.
Yes.
with
I
the
think
same-
electric flying tends to be the most popular just because that's just a great typing.
Yeah. But Oricorio is again, it's just gonna give the opponent an extra little thing to think about while they're team building.
Yeah. I like the ghost one personally because I think it looks cool.
The ghost one is my favorite as well. Sensu form is where it's at.
Okay. So I'm trying to figure out what I need to pick here. I kind of like everything that I have, and so it'd just be like shoring up like random weaknesses that I think I have.
Ooh, Oricorio is a really nice shiny Molly. It has like orange eyes or something like that. It's really nice.
And we've got the list here of the available Pokemon. I'll put that on the stream so everybody can see. These are the ones where we've got Dreadnought,
Yep.
the only underused left. Everything else is either rarely or never used.
I think Dreadnought can act as a Swift Swimmer, which is pretty cool. But I think Strongjaw is the more popular ability to run on that mon.
Dreadnought can it can Swords Dance and it can Shell Smash. and those are the two things that it's like
Yeah.
doing.
So yeah, I'm not
you
gonna
want
pick it because it's ugly.
so when I picked Barraskewda, I was between Dreadnought and Barraskewda. And I thought, a lot of my team is already speed control. It's already kind of about giving my Pokemon opportunity to set up. Why not pick Dreadnought as another option like that? But I thought that maybe it'd be better to have something that's just already fast to give me more immediate pressure, which is why I decided against Dreadnought. And at the moment, it's sort of like, it it's sort of a round peg square hole situation. Like, where do you put it?
Yeah, that's how I felt as well. I just don't see where it fits on my team.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a similar situation with the other rarely used Pokemon we see as well. Like, in the context of rarely used, Altaria, Tatsugiri, and Flamigo might be good Pokemon, but I think most of the people who have Dragon type, who wanted Dragon types, already have a Dragon type.
Yeah, so I think the thing that you have to remember about Tatsugiri is that it's actually surprisingly good. It's a good Pokemon in RU for one big reason, and it is that it learns Rapid Spin, and it's got pretty good stats.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like Tatsugiri was on my list of like spinners I was interested in. Obviously, K-Dub stole all of the spinners that I really, really wanted, and I had to just get Cryogonal.
We had a big run on spinners.
Yeah. I think Tatsugiri might be the last Pokemon in the pool that genuinely learns Rapid Spin. Everyone else is just going to be a weird defogger, which is fine. If you don't care about hazards, defog is a great ability.
Defog gets rid of hazards.
If you don't care about hazards on your opponent's side.
Yeah.
If you're not setting up
if you don't want to set up hazards.
Yeah. It's great, but if you perchance have a Pokemon that could set up hazards, a Rapid Spinner would definitely be preferable. Because you don't lose your own hazards, at least.
I was sweating bullets, hoping that Bramblegast would fall to me, and then it did.
This is a really good pickup. I was hoping to grab that one, and as was Kay, so
Yeah. I remember that.
it was a very, very good timing on your part to grab the Pokemon when you did. I do want to say to... Who picked up Hawlucha?
Oh, that was... let's see, that was Spoolicus. Because
Spoolicus.
Spool's friend said that it would be a good pick.
Hawlucha is a great Pokemon. The secret tech for Hawlucha is because it gets Unburdened and wants to probably just have a type of seed. Indeedee is a really good partner because it sets up Psychic Terrain on its own, but also Pincurchin is sets up Electric Terrain. It doesn't do too much else, to be honest, but like it's a nice partner for Hawlucha because it also eats any electric type moves that Hawlucha might be facing pretty easily.
Yeah, that could be, I guess, a bit of an issue with this team. I'm looking at it here, is that there's not a whole lot of electric resistance.
Yeah.
You can pretty safely use electric moves, and only Go-Go resists.
Yeah. Go-Go's kind of cool also, though, since it has a Milk Drink, I'm pretty sure. That's a surprisingly defensive mon.
We learned a lot about Go-Goat earlier. I don't think Ton and I had ever really used it. I had no idea what it could do, besides carry you around Paris, but... Decisions. We're in that part of the draft here where it's mostly like never used.
Yeah, well, I know a lot of these Pokemon fairly well, and I've got like good ideas of like what they do and what I'm looking for, and they all like not like obviously I'm not going to get anything as good as Cryogonal from here on out, which is already a little borderline. So I'm just trying to figure out like what sort of like is a fun thing that I can add to the team. I do like Flamigo. I like Altaria. I like Tatsugiri. But I have the spinner. I've got probably too many water types already. Losing Braviary. Pretty rough, actually. I like Braviary.
America. And I'm up right after you, so I'm furiously like going through Smogon and trying to find what my next pick is going to be as well.
Yeah. What do you think about picking Todd? You know.
Oh, I love it. I'm having a blast. I think this is great.
Oh, I was asking what you're thinking about picking next.
Oh, I'm not going to tell you. Because you're going to pick it.
Okay. Well,
Trying
I
to play a
tried.
fast one on me.
I tried.
Now I'm just looking at freaky little guys at this point.
Mm-hmm. I feel like I'd mapped out my first like 6 picks very well, and everything's kind of broken down now.
Yeah. We've separated the wheat from the chaff, so to speak.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm looking at completely the wrong metagame. I was looking at Sun and Moon.
There's some really good looking chaff here, though, I gotta say.
I agree. My wheels have been spinning for how to use some of these ones that you wouldn't think. I do think I know what I'm going to do next.
Okay, trying to get into Todd's brain here. What would Todd pick?
It's a dangerous place to be.
Let's look at this team that Todd has. Tyranitar, Slowbro, Brambleghast, Armarouge, Heracross, Florges, and Muck.
What do you think of my team? How am I doing?
The first 2 picks are so good. I love Tyranitar, Slowbro. You've got a good specially defensive Pokemon that's got some offense, and you've got a good defensive Pokemon. That'll just be a nice pivot in general. Brambleghast is probably the best spinner that was left because it also spin blocks. It does some... It can play a little tanky.
It's a ghost. It hits hard. It does so much. Yeah.
Your team is like sort of like coming to the same place where I am, where it's like pretty bulky, kind of slow, like not particularly fast. You're missing like much speed control. I think if you could get like a Tailwinder, that would help you a lot, especially with Brambleghast. But the good Tailwinders are all gone.
Yeah.
I've definitely was looking at this earlier. It's like if I want to use Tailwind as speed control, my like really like sort of low tier, but like maybe could surprise people. Mon was Luminion. So I think in your shoes, that's a completely reasonable thing to grab. But at the same time, I think you like getting a ground type would definitely help because Luminion's so weak to electricity. Just to be able to like work with each other. Unfortunately,
I don't think there's any ground types left on the board except for Dugtrio.
Yeah, Dugtrio is not really a Pokemon.
I'm not gonna take Dugtrio, I'll tell you that.
Especially without without any of its good abilities. It has Sand Rush, I think. Sand Force. But it just doesn't have the stats to really back that up very well. I'm sort of between 2 picks right now.
Oh, Ton, I know what you should take. Appleton.
Yeah. If it's available with my last pick, I'm taking it.
Good.
Real quick, I can't find my phone, which is why I haven't been around.
Oh, that's okay.
No worries.
And I'm curious, so after this, I'm just kind of keeping this in mind. I want to talk about the bans a little bit. We kind of glossed over that, but I want to know kind of both of your thought processes for who you banned and your reasons for it after we make our picks here.
For the most part, like, I don't know. My bans are just what was good.
Yeah,
things I'm most afraid of.
Dragapult and King Gambit.
Yeah, Dragapult's the fastest mon by itself. It hits like a truck. It's really frail, but like not so frail that like you can't take at least 1 hit. And King Gambit is so scary.
and I banned Among Us and Tinkaton. Just because. So I was hanging out with my nephew. I'm coaching him in baseball, and we were doing that yesterday. He's super into Pokemon. He's 10 years old, and it's like he is as into it as I was in like the year 2000.
Nice.
So it's pretty cool. So I asked him who I should ban, and he said I should ban Tinkaton because Tinkaton is mean to Corviknights, and he doesn't think. He just, he thought that was rude. So I banned it. Although I would have 100% banned Garganacl with that one instead, knowing what I now know.
Now, yeah.
Now that I have to face it.
Garganacl's pretty scary. It's
oh my god.
pretty dang scary.
Yeah. I didn't know about Salt Cure when I picked Slowbro. Now I'm scared. But I think Brambleghast kind of deals with it pretty well.
It's not weak to it, at least.
I have uncovered my phone. I am back.
I'm thinking about going a little wacky with it.
Get wacky with it.
Or I could not get wacky with it, is the thing.
Get fucking wacky with it.
I think we're here to be wacky.
Okay. That doesn't help. Okay. I just wanted to double check if there are any Pokemon that can learn Heal Bell in the game, and there are not.
Oh yeah, no, I checked.
Yeah, Blissey theoretically does, but in actuality it doesn't.
We need to get Miltank in this gen.
I do like Miltank.
I love Miltank. Everyone thought I was weird when I used it when I was a kid.
Like, I cannot express how much Kay has screwed me by taking Serena and Colossal.
Serena was really high.
I right now think you are weird for liking Miltank.
I don't care.
I know you don't.
I always, if I have a Miltank, I always name it Yocasta, because that was Oedipus's mom. Just to add an extra layer of weirdness.
Very weird.
I know.
Interesting.
Yeah. Wish wants to talk about Smallfish's bands, Electrode and Electros.
I mean, what's there to talk about? Great.
What's there to talk about?
Yeah, I would have taken
band.
Electrode. Just, it's fast and it booms. And it can do light screen and it can do a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, Electrode was one I was targeting for like a late round pick.
Yeah.
Just because like I said, I don't love to do hazards. So being able to have a lead that doesn't set hazards is fantastic. I think Smallfish banned Electros because they don't like it.
Which is fair. It's weird.
It's a weird
mouth.
Pokemon.
Yeah.
It's got a weird face.
Yeah.
I thought it was another guy. Wait, you banned the wrong
Banned the wrong Pokemon.
You thought it was a different thing?
Oh no!
That's funny.
That's really funny. Smallfish projecting such like huge energy with everything they're doing. I think we can all agree that like no matter how the tournament goes, Smallfish stayed the truest to themselves.
That is absolutely true.
I may have earned the most fans.
I want to say
going to be rooting for Smallfish.
This is a Pokemon that I've never used because every time I just cannot make it as good as I want to be. But I really love Clowitzer. I really want that Pokemon to be so good.
It's got a big gun.
It's got a big gun for an arm.
All right, so the pick is in. We've got Clowitzer going to Yuri. Pick number 8. Or round number 8.
I wish. I don't think I can do that right now. I have an idea of what I want my last pick to be. I don't know if it's going to happen, but it's the Pokemon that I want to be my last pick. And so right now I'm just like sort of stuck on like, oh, which of these Pokemon are just kind of like not bad.
Yeah. That's kind of where I'm at as well. Although I'm just kind of, it gets my turn and I'm like that one.
Yeah, I'm thinking. Do I want Flamigo? Do I need Flamigo? Flamigo is kind of cool, but do I need Flamigo?
Flamigo seems pretty good.
It's like a sort of bulky, not super fast physical fighting type, which I already have. But it's got flying type instead. Which is okay.
Oops.
Or I can go with my heart and do something dumb.
I accidentally deleted your Tauros.
That's okay.
Your team's out of order now. And thanks for, we've got Cosmo Plays in the chat. I appreciate, somebody coming in that's not in our little mid circle. I didn't share this anywhere else that I was going live or anything. But I think it's really cool that somebody, somebody's hanging out and watching and is interested in making our teams that isn't in the tournament also.
In the interest of doing something a little funny, a little weird, I'm choosing Altaria.
Oh, that's what I was gonna pick.
Nice.
Oh.
Dang.
Good pick.
You got inside
I love
my
me a
mind.
Pokemon that can learn Cotton Guard.
Dang, now I have to think.
It's got Cloud9,
Yeah.
which
it's got
I
Tailwind.
don't want other people to have. Does it learn Tailwind?
According to Smogon, it does.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I was never gonna run Tailwind on Altaria. It's not a Tailwind Pokemon to me.
That's exactly why I was gonna run Tailwind on it.
It's a bulky, annoying Pokemon to me.
Oh dear. Dang, that's
Put
exactly
Cotton Guard
that's
and Roost on
exactly
it.
why I wanted it. I wanted a big, bulky, annoying Pokemon. I don't have enough of those.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna think on it for just a second, because now I have no idea what I'm doing. I do have a couple ideas.
I thought you had no idea.
Well, that was before. Now I have ideas. They've
Oh,
come
I
to
see.
me in the time since.
You came up with these ideas in the last couple seconds?
Just in the last couple of seconds, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm happy to help also. Like I don't care about winning.
Me neither.
I just want to play Pokemon.
And I believe we also are on complete opposite sides of the bracket.
You're not on the Philly side?
Oh no, I am on the Philly side.
We're in the same bracket, bud.
We are in the same bracket, so I don't want to tip off too much of my strategy.
To be fair, I do think a lot of the fun of this is just having a team of 10 Pokemon that you chose.
Mm-hmm. I don't mind letting people know that I'm probably going to a snow strategy.
Well, you're still going to win with it.
That's not necessarily true. I'm scared of the Dondozo. I'm scared of the Garganacl. I'm scared of the Hydreigon.
Are you scared of me?
Not scared of any of my
I am scared of you. I've like as soon as I realized that like you were gonna be my first round opponent, I was just like, oh, I've got to take this kind of seriously.
I was really excited when we announced the first bracket, and I was going up against Val, but it ended up getting changed.
Yeah, going up against K-Dub was scary for me as well. And even looking at K-Dub's team right now, I'm kind of like, oh god, what do I do?
K-Dub's been labbing maybe the most out of any player.
Yeah, K-Dub is trying to win.
And I love the labbing that he's been doing. It seems to be coinciding with a lot of the same things that I've been thinking about, which is one of the reasons I had to first pick King, because I knew that if I didn't pick it, K-Dub was likely going to build the snow strategy that I wanted.
I see.
Or at least the option for the snow strategy.
Honestly, my strategy was just like, I know Breloom is so annoying at times, and I just want to make sure my opponent has to think about it.
Yeah, it made me think. It made me think a lot. I'm just like, I don't want to get spored. That's so annoying to get spored. I'm going to make sure that I've got a Pokemon that will deal with getting spored. Also, you can run safety goggles, I guess, but like, I don't
Yeah,
like
that's
running
one thing
safety
I do have to
goggles.
look out for.
Wait. Oh, I just looked up a Pokemon and it's like the opposite of what I thought it was going to be.
Curiouser and Curiouser.
Well, I won't be taking that. Hmm. I'm sure this is riveting for the people watching.
Every so often you go,
Hmm.
Yeah, I was watching a movie with my friends last night, and I was like, oh, hold on, it's my time to pick.
Yeah.
And I was just sort of sitting there, like, debating between Haxorus and Noivern, and I was just like, I don't know, Haxorus has this, this, and this, and Noivern has this, this, and this, and they clearly don't care. I'm just like saying it out loud for my own benefit. But you gotta know, you gotta figure it out.
Gosh. So many options and none of them are very good.
I think that there are actually a couple of really good Pokemon here still.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a couple I'm eyeing that I think may end up falling to me.
Well, what would you do if you were me?
If I were you?
Yeah. What do I
Oh,
need?
jeez.
What do I need on my team? I feel like I'm pretty well
Looking at
balanced.
your team, I don't know. I would really like if there's anything that synergizes with Tyranitar at all, that would be neat. But I don't know. if there-
Unfortunately, it's just like there's not really.
There's no sand users in this gen.
Well, also sand users are kind of, like it's limited because you can't use Sand Veil.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But
so
like
that's
you
just-
could take a rock Pokemon who would
You could
benefit
take-
from getting extra special defense.
You could take Cloth, I guess.
I was looking at Cloth.
Cloth
I don't
is
think it's
a
Cloth.
Pokemon. Cloth is a Pokemon.
I think you would rather take Doug Trio than
Oh, God.
Cloth.
Dugtrio wouldn't get any kind of boost, but yeah.
Doug
it's a
Trio
better-
gets Sand Force.
That's true. That's true. Dugtrio is actually the only Pokemon left that's going to get anything out of sand.
But like Doug Trio's got like, okay attack,
It
great
dies in one
speed,
hit.
can't take any hits at all.
Yeah.
So like Sand Force kind of like makes it deal even more damage. It's like free life orb or whatever.
What is
Yeah,
this
and I mean, at some
Stonehenge
point-
looking thing?
You don't want Stonejourner.
We got Sudowoodo.
Sudowoodo is workable.
All right. I hear Sudowoodo's workable. I'm going to take Sudowoodo just because it's.
All
I
right.
love it. I love the design. I love the name. My favorite Pokemon name.
All
Easily.
right.
Sudowoodo. Lock it in, Todd.
I also don't think that Stonejourner's that bad. It doesn't have an ability, but like
Stonejourner, I don't know, man.
No,
I just
I'm-
don't know what you.
I think
honestly,
it's basically the same as a Sudowoodo with worse moves.
the only reason I
Sudowoodo
went
has at least
Sudowoodo-
like rock head smash stuff, and you can like.
Mhm.
I think it can blow up. Like,
Hell yeah.
plus it has
Oh, can
access.
it?
Yeah, it has sturdy as well, so like you can set up Stealth Rock without having to waste the item on a Focus Sash.
All right, give me Sudowoodo.
Sudowoodo, I think, is just a way better Pokemon.
I think yeah, maybe.
Okay.
All right, well,
So
next
there's all
up,
our live picks, and then we've got.
we've got Spool.
Spool next, yeah.
Spool is up.
Yeah, Spool coming off the Delibird rather, Goat, Golduck. Interesting team. Delibird.
No, Spool gave me Did Spool? It wasn't Spool. It was Finn. That gave me some. No. Did Spool make a pick recently? Let me take a look. Am I supposed to do that?
Todd, did you update the sheet?
I can't. I am not.
Okay.
I'm not one of
I've
the
got
special
you.
people that can.
Oh, you absolutely can. You're just looking at the wrong place, I think.
Oh, I must be in view only.
You're in the view only one.
Oh,
Spool. Okay, no, Spool did make their last pick. So I think they are at work, but I don't think I'm able to make any picks for Spool.
so now, Ton, with your two bans, you banned Toxapex and Clodsire.
Yeah,
You don't like poison types?
I don't like Toxapex. I hate it.
You could have
Toxapex is the most annoying defensive Pokemon
I hate Toxapex.
of recent generations.
I hate it. I don't care that it doesn't get knockoff. I don't care that it doesn't get Scald anymore. I hate it. Those things aren't what made it. Those things are not what made it annoying. It's just like Toxapex is just like it does nothing and it's impossible to get through. It's just like pure stall and like even Pokemon that supposedly should counter it don't really counter it. It's such a hard Pokemon to deal with. And also my thinking was I have the first ban and I have the first pick, so I don't have to ban Ubers at all.
Yeah.
Like
That's definitely true.
Everyone else has to do that so I don't get an Uber. But so I can just ban the Pokemon that I hate playing against the most. And that was Toxapex. And I know for a fact that if Toxapex had been available, Yudi would have taken it.
Oh, 100%. That is, like, guaranteed. I'm sure Val would have taken it way
Val
before
would have
the.
taken it, yeah.
Yeah.
I could have. Or Pyre's even, given the Garganackle first pick. Pyre's doing a great job identifying, like, what is one of the best defensive mons to pick up early.
And then banning Clodsire was mostly about getting rid of a counter to Breloom. It's not an explicit Breloom counter, but Clodsire is a Pokemon that Breloom can't really do a whole lot to. And you know, I felt like Garganackle it's a better Pokemon than Clodsire probably by a little bit, but Breloom is better at dealing with that.
Yeah.
So it was really just a matter of like what do I think I can match up well into.
Very smart picks. I thought Clodsire was going to make it through, just because it's so cute.
I knew there was no way.
It almost did.
I mean, here's the thing: if I didn't ban Clodsire, I would have picked it, right? Because I love that boy.
I think this is like sort of like the core difference between like a player like Ton and a player like me is that I would have first picked a defensive mon for sure. I like building my defensive course first and then figuring out any damage dealer afterwards.
Same. I kind of had that same thought process too.
I like to get my Pokemon set up. I like to maneuver a little bit. I don't really like to sit back a whole lot. Oh, and Spool has made a pick.
Ooh.
It is Jolteon.
Jolteon coming in.
Another pick off of my list.
That's another one I had.
Another Gen 1 guy.
Yep.
Yeah, I think some of my favorite picks here are about to fall ducks in a row real quick.
Yeah, probably. We're getting to the end of these. We're left with some really situational Pokemon. Smallfish has picked Wigglytuff, which I love. Wigglytuff is a pretty interesting mon. It's doesn't have as much stats as you want, so it has a hard time dealing damage. But it's a competitive, which isn't nothing.
Wigglytuff is
typing.
It's the best fairy type left, for sure. And I was considering if I didn't take Gardevoir, taking Wigglytuff.
I think Dedenne might be slightly better than Wigglytuff, in my opinion.
Don't say that.
As just like a pure fairy type, it depends on like what like role you need this Pokemon to like fulfill. If you're looking for a tankier Pokemon, I think Wigglytuff is better. If you want to deal some more damage, I like Dedenne more.
That's probably true. I love Wigglytuff. It's like a top 5 Pokemon all time for me. And
yeah.
Saying that Dedenne, which is one of the worst Pokemon ever created, is stronger than it is.
I've come around on all the Pikachu clones,
All of them?
except for Minion and Plusle. Those are the ones I have nothing good to say. But the rest of them, I can figure out a use for them.
I like a good Emolga.
Emolga at least is like flying type also, so like,
Yeah.
that's neat, I guess. You know, Mimikyu is great.
Mimikyu is fantastic.
Who doesn't
Mimikyu's
love
first
Mimikyu?
pick worthy. I agree with Ross first picking Mimikyu. That's a strong UU Pokemon to pick up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that was absolutely like really great value.
So that brings me to another topic that I wanted to talk about a little bit. What do you think are some of the best value that people got with where they picked?
Blissey in the 7th round is disgusting.
The 5th round.
Or 5th pick, but yeah, like
Yeah.
getting Blissey with your 5th pick is disgusting.
I've never thought Blissey was that good. I'll be honest.
Blissey, if you want a Pokemon that can eat specially defensive moves, there's no Pokemon more unkillable than Blissey.
Yeah, and the problem, the thing is, like, in retrospect, what Pyrus is doing is really obvious because they picked Cloyster, who has like a nuclear high defensive stat, and then they picked Blissey, the special defensive answer, and that's just like a core, right?
Yeah, it's like playing against Pyrus is like, can you get your right threat in front of Pyrus' like incorrect defensive threat?
I need to make Finn's pick. Finn is counting on me to make this pick. So, let me see here.
For those of you watching that aren't part of the group, we have people in many different time zones, and so if you're asleep, you have an hour on the clock, but you'll submit a list of your board, and whoever is in charge will make it off of that. And we don't look at the boards, because that'd be cheating.
Okay, I think I'm reading this right, and I think that this is Venomoth.
Ooh, it was on my radar.
Okay, so Finn has taken Masquerain and Venomoth back to back.
Too much.
I think that Masquerain was also a really good pick. I really like Finn's last couple of picks here. Starting from
I wanted Masquerain.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to take it back. I love every single one of Finn's picks and bans so far. They make a lot of sense. Espathra and Pelipper are so strong of Pokemon, so flexible, can do a lot of damage or whatever. Getting Hydreigon that first round, incredible. I like Staraptor a lot. I can't really say anything bad about it. Staraptor is just a fun Pokemon to play with. Lycanroc is also a really fun one if you can make it work. And Klefki was very high on my radar as like a really strong prankster Pokemon with great typing.
I was praying Lycanroc fell to me. Praying for that. Because Lycanroc is such a strong Pokemon.
That synergizes with sand. I should have thought of that.
Yeah, to a degree, for sure.
Yeah. There's unfortunately, like the sand synergies that you have available to you aren't like a lot. It's why Tyranitar is not like as strong in the overuse singles meta right now compared to in previous generations, just because like the support isn't quite there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a number of I saw a couple of funny posts about like how Pokemon took to the new generation, and next to Tyranitar it said is beside himself driving around downtown furiously calling Excadrill's phone number.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, because man, it misses Excadrill so much.
Really wants one like Sand Rush Pokemon or like a genuinely good Sand Force Pokemon.
I'm gonna make it work. Me and Tyranitar, we're gonna take this all the way. Prove everybody wrong.
Like, God, I think if Sandslash were in the game, that would help Tyranitar so much.
Sandslash?
Sandslash.
Huh.
Wow.
Okay.
It's surprisingly okay for it because 65 base speed is enough to like put you in a pretty good range against a lot of other Pokemon.
Yeah.
The fact that we're talking about like all Tyranitar needs is Sandslash, it should just underline how strong Tyranitar is overall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, to be clear, Tyranitar should, like, it's just down to base stats with that Pokemon. Like, Rock and Dark is a terrible typing, like, and there aren't a lot of Pokemon that can really take advantage of sand. But man, that thing is just a ball of stats.
It hits so
It
hard.
really is.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, luckily, even without like good sand synergy, Tyranitar can stand on its own.
Oh, K-Dub is picking for Ross.
Yeah, I think that literally might mean K-Dub. Ross said, K-Dub, make my next pick for me.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I think that Ross may have done that. Okay, hold on. Oh, no, it doesn't. Okay.
Oh, yeah, Molly says Ross gave K-Dub a list.
Okay, no ability to cross-reference. Let's see. Hold on. I have to take a look at this. Yeah, I have to take over on Ross's pick, guys. I'm gonna mute.
Sure. So Yori, who do you think has the strongest team?
I'm going to just have to say I really like Pyres' team. I'm so scared of Pyres' team. This defensive ball. I love everything that's going on with it. Grabbing the last steel type in the pool and Capraja. Not the best Pokemon, but like another hugely defensive mon that like is hard to kill.
Yeah, I'm terrified of Pyres' team, but I'm gonna take him out in the first round. Save everybody else the headache of dealing with it.
I would appreciate that. Yeah, thank you.
That's that was my Heracross pick. Was just like, I need a wall breaker. I need a guy that's gonna come in and immediately provide some offensive pressure against Blissey and Cloyster. Even Garganacl can do some damage to that, but yeah. I don't know. I really don't think my team matches up too well against Pyres' team.
I think you might have to do some weird stuff to catch Pyres off guard.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to.
Which
play
is possible.
Really well. Yeah. You never know.
I've saw you absolutely crush Val by making some really, really good plays. You took a more aggressive line than I would have gone for, but I probably would have lost to Val. So
I'm still interested to hear Val's thoughts on that match, because I still haven't. That was a couple of weeks ago. We did a flop on stream, and I still have the VOD, I think. Should download that, review it, study Val's battling strategy. Yeah, I remember that we did a best 2 of 3, and the first one, I felt like I made 3 or 4 really, really bad plays because it was all moving so fast, and I hadn't played a competitive match in so long. But then the second game, I was able to kind of slow it down a little bit more and think about, like, okay, what's Val gonna do? What have I seen the Pokemon do in the first game, and kind of anticipate what was coming. And I felt like I did a better job of like navigating switches and trades and getting the right Pokemon in there that I needed. So I think that's what I'm gonna need to do against Pyres, is like just get the right guy out there to deal with some of these big defenders and hopefully be able to get out in front. But man, it's tough. Going up against like everybody's pretty much consensus, I think, favorite Pyres. Gonna be a tough nut to crack.
Yep.
And even then,
well, I think your hope is that Pyres just cannot actually kill you.
Or that Pyres forgets about it and just doesn't show up to the fight, and I win by default.
Well, I think this might be the actual hidden tech. Place a tail whip onto your team.
Okay.
And just PP stall.
Tail whip.
Yeah. Tail whip has so much PP.
Interesting. Yeah, it's got like 60.
So yeah, you can just spam that move and hope that Pyres doesn't have a way to actually kill you in time.
I don't know if I'm gonna do that, but I'll think about it. I'll consider it.
It's a pretty desperate.
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna put tail whip on all my Pokemon. And then, even looking ahead too, for me, my next round is either going to be against Ads or Finn, who I think also have really strong teams. Finn has just a ton of offensive pressure, Klefki, and then Ads has Dondozo, which I don't have a very good answer for. So.
Yeah, well, thankfully this isn't doubles. You're not worried about the Omni boost that Dondozo gets. but there's some really strong Pokemon on Ad's team also. I generally like them. Salamence was a Pokemon I was interested in getting, as it was Arboliva. Slacking's pretty interesting. I'm pretty sure it's not good, but I really love it.
Oh, we've got a pick. I think Ross has chosen Sawsbuck via.
Yeah. So Ross told us. Ross gave K-Dub a list of 4 Pokemon, and they were all picked. And then, as a contingency, said to pick something that was a useful type. For Ross. And I just sort of looked over Ross's team, and I think that having a ground resistance would be really good, just because you've got Magnezone, for example, which is double weak to ground, and there's no ground resist. Dragalge is weak to ground as well, and there just wasn't a ground resistance in there. So a grass type made a lot of sense, and then there's also a number of ghost type issues here. None of those Pokemon resist ghost, except for Kamala, who's immune. So I just figured that was, type-wise, probably the best one. And Sawsbuck has decent stats, kind of. It's slim pickings down here. But I did make, I think, a justifiable pick based on type.
Yeah. I think Sawsbuck is a little interesting because it does learn Serene Grace. I don't know what moves it has to take advantage of that.
That's a good question.
But, like, actually, you know, okay, I'm looking here. It can learn Thunder Wave, and it can learn Zen Headbutt, or just normal Headbutt. That's a Paraflinch Pokemon.
That's a Paraflinch Pokemon right there. Cool. Let's go. All right.
Yeah,
I feel that I've done an okay job. Yep. Ross, I hope you like your deer. I hope you take a shower with it.
Member says we've got
save
some
time.
feedback. I'm gonna see if. Is it coming
yeah,
from me, do you think, Numbers, or is it coming from? Because
Oh,
we've got a little bit of extra noise.
I think it's coming from Ton right now.
Oh, okay. Sometimes my headset is so cheap, I broke my good microphone and haven't been able to replace it. So yeah.
I'm unfortunately in a situation where I have a lot of ambient noise, and there's not a lot I can do about that.
But
funny or interesting?
Wish has made a pick, I think.
I'm gonna go interesting, Wish, because your whole team is interesting. Your whole team is very interesting, so I think that you should go interesting.
Oh.
I do like interesting.
I would go funny.
Well, it's 2-1 interesting, so.
I mean, I also like fun. I don't know. I think. What's the definition? What's the definition of? I guess.
Yeah, I would love to have Wish on, if you want to come on and talk about your pick.
Funny, not biased.
Not biased. Yeah, Wish and Numbers are going to be going up against each other in round 1, so.
Oh.
Hello?
Hello.
Welcome. We've got Wish up here. Wish, you've got a very fun team.
How do we feel about my wonderful friends?
Love it. 100%
I'm
love.
very jealous of a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're very funny.
You have the most
I
fun
love
team.
the Dunsparce.
Yeah. I love Zoroark and Ditto.
I think you should do what's in your heart here. I think your team is very funny and very interesting.
Am I allowed to say the names of the ones I want to choose? Or?
Yeah, that's
you're allowed.
up to you. Like you're giving away free information to others.
Yeah.
Okay,
keep
so
in mind, if you have more on your board, if you say them, people might pick them before it comes back to you if they hear.
Okay, no. The funny one is Appleton, because I think it would be funny to have both of them.
Oh.
Yeah. That is funny. Yeah.
That is funny.
Given that information, funny or interesting?
I want to know what the other one is. I want to go interesting.
Yeah, I'm interested. I'm gonna go interesting. I changed my mind.
Yeah.
It's Tatsugiri.
Tatsugiri.
Tatsugiri is great. I love Tatsugiri. I think
a good pick.
This is an astounding 10th round pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tatsugiri is amazing value for you right here. And amazingly, we have We have almost cleared out rarely used, and we might do that before we clear out underused.
Yeah. Nobody wants Dreadnought. But I think, let's see, that would be a hazard clearer for you.
It's a
Rapid
hazard clearer.
clear,
It's
yeah.
a good water type and dragon type. It hits just good neutral damage.
It's a dragon type?
It gets Draco Meteor and Nasty Plot, so like that thing can hit
Mhm.
like a truck.
There
Yep.
you go.
If it were like a little faster, just like a little bit faster, it would be.
I don't really know anything about the forms. Is the problem?
Don't worry about the forms. They do not matter except in doubles.
They don't matter except for Dondozo because it changes like what boost it gets for Dondozo. Ooh, and numbers, another Gen 9 Pokemon, Farigiraf.
Oh, fur giraffe.
The Furgiraf is a Pokemon that I also was looking at multiple points. I ultimately decided against it because I felt like it was going to make my team too weak to dark types.
Same, yeah.
Mhm.
I had the same exact thoughts.
I was definitely considering her for a giraffe. I just think that's a funny guy.
It's a funny guy.
It's a funny guy.
Yeah.
It's a funny guy.
It's a Trick Room setter.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
And there's, there's some good potential for Trick Room on Numbers team.
Yep.
Big, slow, bulky guys.
I do kind of like Numbers' ability to just set up weather and do some cool stuff with that, or just decide to take advantage of other people's weather.
We have another pick. We're getting a flurry. In
Wow,
here,
Molly
folks.
is, yeah.
Molly is finger on the trigger. Drifloon.
Driftblim.
Driftblim.
Love Driftblim.
Very good value.
Another Exploder.
Yep, absolutely.
It's a defogger. It explodes. It can do damage with Unburden and acrobatics.
It also has aftermath, I believe, right?
It does.
Yeah, a lot higher attacking stats than I would have thought.
Drifloon is a solid Pokemon.
Yeah.
Also, just an astounding 10th round pick.
Countered hard by Sudowoodo, though, I will say. It's no Sudowoodo.
It's no Sudowoodo.
Man, I'm really happy. Having Slowbro and Sudowoodo on my team just makes me really happy because those are two of my favorite designs. Like, from all time, from way back. I love Sudowoodo.
Sudowoodo is a very funny Pokemon.
Yeah.
What if there was a tree and it had a little face?
And it wasn't a tree.
What if the tree wasn't a tree?
It's a rock.
My favorite part in the Pokemon Legends Arceus is someone's meeting a Sudowoodo for the first time. It's like, wow, that Pokemon, it looks like a tree. I'm gonna try watering it.
Yeah.
You fool.
It's funny how cheeky they get with stuff like Terra types as well. Where I think like the first one you see is a Sudowoodo that becomes grass type.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
He says it's a truly Wudo.
What does
Truly.
Terra mean? What is that?
So, okay, Terra type, let me just explain this really quick. Terra type allows you to change your Pokemon's type to any other type. If it's a dual type Pokemon, it becomes a single type. And Terra is like this innate thing. It's sort of like an ability, right? In that, like, if you catch a Pokemon in the wild, for example, its Terra type is going to be the same as what its regular type is. But you can either change it by giving it a bunch of Terra shards, feeding a bunch of glass to it.
Glass? You feed glass to it?
That's my understanding, yeah.
Basically, that's true.
And you can also go to raids in the game. The raids will have, like, Pokemon with, like, different Terra types than what you'd find in the wild. And if you Terra into that type, you also get the same type of attack bonus from that type, on top of what you already have. So if I have, like, a Raichu, it gets same type of attack bonus from electric attacks. If I Terra type it into grass, it still gets that from electric, but now also grass.
Oh, wow.
And defensively, it's only a grass type.
Interesting.
And if it were to be electric, for example, it would get double. So essentially, Terra typing it into electric would not change its type, but it would give its electric type attacks double damage over what they would do without any sort of stab.
Okay. I've been wondering what that was ever since we started doing this.
Yeah, it's weird.
I
Oh,
remember
and
back in
there
the
goes
day.
Flamigo, and we have officially.
Oh, there goes Flamigo.
That is the final rarely used Pokemon. There is one non-NU Pokemon left, and it is Dreadnought.
I
Amazing.
think Flamigo is such a good pick.
love
Flamigo's
it.
a great Pokemon. It learns Scrappy, so it can hit the ghost types.
Hey,
It's got
if Val or Liam are listening, could they please just pick Dreadnought so Pyres doesn't get that?
Oh no.
Please, for me, please for me.
Yeah, God.
I did not even consider Val.
Oh boy. Yeah, I can't believe Dreadnought made it this far. I guess people just don't like it very much.
That's where I'm at with it. I just don't like it.
It's not my friend. I look at the other Pokemon, I'm like, yeah, okay, there's my friend.
Yeah, yeah. Muck, good friend.
A good friend, Muck.
Yeah.
Flapple, what a little animal.
Yeah, I do. I don't think that it's going to happen, but I do think it'd be really funny if Appleton were in like the last 6 Pokemon on the board, so I could pick it.
Mhm.
But I understand if it's not. I'm okay with that.
You wouldn't pick it before your last pick?
No.
My next pick is going to be Appleton.
Okay. Well, I'll figure out something else. I mean,
Aw,
it's just
man.
going to be like whoever I take with that pick is going to be my mascot.
I deprived you of the Tinkaton pick as well.
Yeah, you guys, what the hell, guys?
I didn't want to ban Tinkaton.
I've got a brand here, all right?
Yeah.
You
Tinkaton,
gotta like,
Appleton.
yeah, Tinkaton, Appleton. Like I should have taken both. Those should have been my
You
first.
could take it
I
as your
should've-
next pick.
I should have gone Appleton first and just like thrown.
First
You
pick.
can take it
First
next
pick of the
pick.
draft.
First pick of the draft, I pick Appleton.
Is Appleton not good?
Appleton is terrible.
Aw, man.
Such a bad Pokemon.
It's a pie.
I love it, and I did use it in Sword and Shield. Appleton was like my favorite boy.
Yeah.
But also, man, that Pokemon sucks.
That's kind of where I'm at with Sunflora. I'm looking at Sunflora there, and it's just so bad.
It's really bad.
But it's
Appleton's
so
main
good.
issue is just like it doesn't hit very hard. It's not that bulky. Or like it is actually pretty bulky, but the problem is it has a lot of easy weaknesses.
Yeah.
Ice destroys it, even
Yeah.
with thick bat.
I'm
Dragon
looking at poor
destroys it.
Flapple.
Flying destroys it, and like Flapple is at least fast, but Appleton is really slow. And the problem is it doesn't hit hard enough to justify how slow it is. So it can't even really be a good like Trick Room Sweeper.
Hmm.
It can't set up. It just doesn't do anything.
It doesn't do anything, from what I'm understanding.
Yeah, it just doesn't do anything.
Bummer.
Yeah, which is unfortunate because I do think it's one of my favorite Pokemon.
It pairs really well with Vanillux. For sure.
Sorry, I'm back. What did I miss? What pairs well with Vanillux?
Jesus
Appleton.
Christ. The apple
Oh,
pie.
okay, yeah,
Pie,
yeah.
pie and ice
That's,
cream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Who is Killer Alpha 0808?
No
What's
idea.
up, brother? How you doing?
What's up, dude?
Nice
Thanks for
to have
joining
you here.
the stream. Are
Yeah,
you are
right.
you one of the players, or did you just find this randomly?
If you just found us randomly, that's great.
That is great.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're gonna do anything other than just look at this draft.
Mhm.
I didn't have any plans on. I don't even have my team fully made yet, or the various versions of my team that I may or may not run in the actual tournament made.
I'm just impatient to get my next 2 picks in because those next 2 are essentially finishing my team.
Yeah,
Because I don't have any control over what I take with the last one.
you'll have a choice of what, like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
You,
Yeah.
you'll have more than that actually.
Will I?
Just because we lost a player, so it was before it was 192 picks, and now we're only at 180.
Mm.
So you'll have
okay, so-
like 16, 17 Pokemon to pick from.
Really? Wow.
Mhm.
I didn't think there were that many left.
Yeah, losing one player is equivalent to 12 picks.
That's true.
And 2 bans. Oh, if we
Yeah,
only could have had
maybe-
2 more bans.
Maybe we could have banned Garganackle and Dondozo.
So true. So
Yeah.
true.
Pyre's
Yeah.
getting
So
such a big assist from the nephew who wanted to ban Tinkaton.
I think there was a really interesting thing here, a bit of collusion going on between myself, Pyres, Val, kind of those first 5 or 6 players.
I was
where
very upset at how many defensive Pokemon got banned from there too.
Mhm.
You know, like I understand not banning the really broken the Pokemon in general, but like, man, I'm more afraid of the offense than the defense. Like, how does Toxapex kill you right now? Toxapex doesn't. It's annoying, but it doesn't kill you. Whereas, like, you know,
Well, okay,
Golden Go that
think
kills you
about it from our
easy.
perspective, though, right? If you get the #1 pick in this draft and there's no bans, you're picking an offensive Pokemon, right? Because there's 5 just absolutely busted Pokemon, and 4 of them are offensive, right? So, like, if you want to put pressure on your opponent to ban those things, like, make sure you ban them. Ban the counters, and those are all going to be defensive Pokemon. So, like, I'm sitting here like, hey, if I get the #1 pick, I'm taking Palafin, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ban the thing that beats Palafin.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, Kay and I had colluded to make sure that Palafin was never getting around the bend.
Yeah.
Oh, if it
Yeah.
had, I would have not. I wouldn't have cared about nephew wanting to ban Tinkaton. I would have banned Palafin in a heartbeat.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I
Okay,
figured
so-
that there was no chance of that, but like,
Palafin
I
was
had to
never
act
getting
as
into this
though that were a
tournament.
possibility. What I was really hoping for was one of Garchomp, Dragapult, or Volcarona. And I
Also
think I
was never going to happen.
Yeah.
Those Pokemon are way too flexible, way too good.
I was really hoping for Electros, but
I was hoping to draft Electrode #1 overall, but we all saw how that went.
Electrode would have been a great late pick.
No, yeah, actually, it would have been.
Yeah.
I do like Electrode as a late pick for sure.
Yeah.
I've like labbed out like the best worst pick in my opinion. And I'm excited to get to the final pick.
Yeah, me too. I don't think we're gonna get there on the stream. We might actually
Probably
finish the
not.
draft tonight, but it'll be a few hours at least.
I doubt we can finish tonight, just because I know that Ross and
Yeah, I think we're
Yeah,
gonna sort of end up at the
Wonder.
same sort of position that we did last night. Is we're gonna get stuck on the EU people being asleep.
I like
Yeah.
that they all go right after each other though.
Yeah, that
for
was
the most
nice.
part.
That was pure RNG.
Yeah, good.
I
Yeah.
also like the little corner of sickos we've got between Yumi and Kay.
Oh my god, yes.
Every time we get to that corner, it just goes bam. Like,
Yeah.
you guys are on it.
Yeah,
We got strats. And it's funny because I feel like we all have kind of shared a brain cell at times.
Oh,
yeah, you
for
guys are
sure,
all,
for sure.
You're all out over here sniping each other.
Yeah.
I did want low kicks. Low kicks is a really
Yeah.
cool, strong mon.
I wanted Serena.
Also a cool, strong mon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
To have
I'm
it
just
go along with Bramblegast and have two grass spinners.
So one thing before I go that I should tell you guys about is a conversation that Val and I had with each other, because we were talking about our teams and we were talking about how we're on opposite sides of the bracket, and Val and I made an anime character pact. You know that thing where like rivals would be like, "I'll see you in the finals," right? You better not lose before I beat you. We made one of those. So Val and I are hoping to meet each other in the finals one way or another.
You're gonna have to get through me.
And me.
I'm definitely gonna have to get through Yuri.
Yeah,
Oh,
Definitely.
that
wow,
was the one
shade.
guarantee.
That I already know. My one concern is like, even if I do beat you, like I've built certain parts of the team to counteract what you want to do, which makes me wonder like how effective will that be later.
Yeah, you have to face either Molly or Ross afterwards, and
That's terrible.
there's some scary stuff over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Molly's team is. Ugh. That's a
I,
scary
I
team.
love this really defensive Trick Room potentially setting team
Oh, yeah.
with access to Revival Blessing.
Yeah, God.
Well, I feel like that's as good a place as any to end it on. If you guys, unless you had any final
Mhm.
thoughts.
Do we have any favorites?
Oh yeah, we should
Like,
make picks. Like, if not yourself, who's your pick to win it all?
jeez. For me, I really like what Pyres has been doing.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with what Yuri said. Like, I don't. The offense is the main question. Where is that going to come from? But I just think like this team's just going to wear you down, and like they don't need to be putting out a bunch of offense, right? And then I think Cloyster and Passimian are enough of like a threat that it's going to be hard to deal with them. Like you're going to have to bring something to deal with Shell Smash Cloyster.
Yeah.
So I think Pyre just like overall has to be my favorite.
I will say secret tech potentially against Shell Smash Cloister is Mirror Herb,
Ooh,
a new item in Gen 9 which copies your opponent's stat changes.
Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah. Good to know.
Okay.
I am gonna pick K-Dub because K-Dub has a bunch of Pokemon that I do not know what they are, and so they must be good.
Yeah.
So
Caleb's got a good spot in the bracket too.
yeah, getting first round bye is pretty nice.
Getting a bye is really nice. Yeah.
I think if I don't win this, my favorite to win has got to be Ton, because that means that Ton has beaten me.
whoever
But,
whoever comes out of the Yuri and me match is definitely going to be a contender.
Yeah, I will say my
Contender.
dark horse for this is Liam, actually. I think Liam has like a really interesting team.
Yeah.
It's like almost all glass cannons, which
Yeah, Weavile Gengar is like that's astonishing.
I think it was
Mhm.
before you came on, Yuri, but we were talking about how Liam has a very Team Rocket team.
oh, it
Just
is.
a bad
It's
guys.
extremely Team Rocket. It's actually really fun.
It's wonderful.
It's one of my favorite teams. Just a bunch of shady characters.
I will say that if I win this tournament, or at the very least if I like have a really nice match or something like that, if I get attached to this team, I probably will request fan art of them.
Mhm.
I'm gonna draw fan art of my team, and it's gonna be bad.
I need to start trying to catch some of these shinies in Scarlet and Violet, because I think maybe I actually don't know like what the investment is to like make this team in Scarlet and Violet. I would like to if it's possible, but if I require too many ability patches, then it's not happening.
I'd do it if I had a DS.
A Switch?
A Switch. I'm a couple generations behind.
You're a little behind there, yeah.
Yeah.
I had a DS.
I have a DS. If I had a Switch.
If I had a Game Boy, Liam takes Dreadnought. Okay,
Oh,
right
thank
as we were about
God.
to sign
Oh
off,
my
Liam.
God. Okay,
makes
so
the
yeah,
pin.
there we go.
Thank you,
The
Liam.
final live pick probably, unless Val gets
thank
one in the
God.
next few seconds. We don't have to worry
Okay.
about Pyres adding Dreadnought to that wall,
Jesus Christ.
which
yeah.
would have probably sealed my fate in the first round, I think.
Thank you for saving us,
Yeah,
Liam.
thank you, Liam.
Thank you,
Oh, boy.
Liam.
And thank you everybody for hanging out in the chat. Looking forward to this. We will have a lot of these games streamed live, I'm sure. So keep an eye on my channel. Give me a follow if you want, and follow it in the Breathmints Discord if you're a member of that. And I'm sure people will mention when they're going live. And
Yep.
yeah, thank you all. Oh wait, Wish, who's your pick?
Oh, who's my pick?
Yeah, who's your pick?
I think Pyres is gonna kill us all.
Yeah, Pyre is a very
Nice.
popular pick. But yeah,
Terrified.
so that's gonna do it for us tonight. Thank you all so much, and I hope you all have a wonderful night.